It's like maybe not welcome, perhaps welcome. We're gonna try again. Welcome everybody. Take two. Welcome to ProBots. Round of 8. We're in the round of 8 of 2024 season 3. It has been, we're past it. We're into the final stretches. This is the second to last week, because after this is the semifinals and then the finals. And I hope you are ready to watch these bots fight for their proverbial robotic life, because I know I am. I'm your host, Drekken, and I am so happy to present this week's ProBots. Joining me are these casters. Booyakasha.
You already leaked that we were here.
Did I?
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
people probably figured that anyway, but
oh yeah, well, he's hiding behind the curtains.
face reveal.
Yeah.
We were gonna be VTubers, but our faces got revealed. So
no, well, your careers are over. That's it. I'm joined here by Endersword, and taking the place of BY is Ketrock. Long time no see, Ketrock.
Yeah, been a while.
It has been a while.
UI, Banyoshi, right? Got it.
Yeah. And so we're here in the round of 8, and your bot's not in the round of 8, so it's great. It works out.
That's what I was going for.
Yeah, it's a good plan. It's just it was a courtesy loss, so that he could cast without no problems.
His own bot.
Yeah,
no bias. Finally, I've been dying to have a chance to have it where we had a round of 8 that Ketrock wasn't casting, and his own bot, because then there's this weird moment where he's like saying Ketrock, and you're like, what? But here we are, round of 8, guys. And before we get started, you know what you need to do there out in YouTube land. Hit that subscribe. Like you're probably subscribed by this point. If you're watching this, you're already subscribed. I
don't know. You need one of those graphics. We talked about this before, of the YouTubers that do the. Oh, I know that 56% of you are not subscribed, so hit that subscribe button right now, or my children will die.
Listen, if you guys like it, you're already subscribed. If you don't like it, you're not subscribed. I'm not gonna tell you. Like, obviously, if you want to know more and see all this stuff, then yeah, you're obviously gonna hit that button. So
it's not so much telling them what to do; it's the call to action.
I know. Well, if you
an object call to action, yeah, an object in rest stays at rest until they're told to like or subscribe. That is Newton's 4th law.
All right. Well, I'm gonna tell you. You know what I'm gonna tell you to do? Hit that donation button on there, whatever the YouTube bits button. There, that's the call to action. I'm kidding. Your call to action is to watch this show with us and enjoy and have a great time. We have a couple announcements I think we're gonna get out of the way before we get into the describing of the rectangles. No, not rectangles just yet. This week next week is what I declared the Versus AI Summit. So all next week, we're going to be doing a bunch of bot-related events and projects leading up to it. And let's see if production can show us our graph. Well, that's not a graphic, but just our announcement. We'll see if we'll get it up at the same time. So yeah, so obviously next week we have the grand finals of ProBots. That's going to be on the Saturday, December 14th. You guys are already very familiar with that, and we'll have our exhibitions of humans versus ProBots. Caninana is actually going to be in it for the first time, so that's something worth noting. Never been humans versus ProBots. Then on the Monday, I will be doing a workshop. We'll be doing a workshop. Let's see, production click. Actually, absolutely, I'll be doing a workshop teaching you, if you have not done it yet, how to build a Zerg Rush bot in a Python. Got a little workshop, really easy. I know a bunch of you have been like, I've been wanting to start a bot. Now you have no freaking excuse. Join me on Monday, and I have a little template you can just get started with. Super easy.
The picture shows a Terran. Should we be concerned?
I know. You know what? I saw it. I saw that, and I'm like, you know what? It's just gonna represent the workshop in a whole, and I don't really got the energy to put a Zerg one. I plan to do more workshops, and we'll just call that just the workshop related image. So absolutely. And then, which on the Friday, we will be doing a panel. So training an AI game, a gaming AI without Google money. Essentially, I'll be bringing bot authors or AI creators across the bot universe, multiverse. I got Timo from former DeepMind software engineer, who will be joining. Talking about from AlphaStar's perspective. I got Peter Wilden, who built an AI that played Pokemon Red. Kyotech, who is the creator of OptiV2 for Rocket League, and who's not there because he just confirmed, and I have to be announcing him, is, oh my god, I just forgot his name, but he's the creator of a Smash Melee bot named Philip V2. So we got a healthy amount of bot authors across multiple games who will be talking to me, and our core ideas, like essentially, how do you, obviously Google had a ton of money to make AlphaStar. Some of these bots, actually all these bots have been made without that level of support.
Yeah,
we'll talk about it. How do you get there? Right.
I knew Timo from before, obviously AlphaStar stuff. Peter, I've watched a bunch of his YouTube videos on how
you actually the one who actually.
Yeah, I think I might have brought him up.
You might have been the one that gave it to me.
Yeah, it's really interesting because he kind of visually maps. If you check out his YouTube, he maps out like the decision making, and like there's arrows on the ground that would kind of tell you the probabilities of it going certain places and all this stuff. It's really cool, some of the problems he ran into. I'm sure he'll talk about it then, but yeah, I thought his stuff was really interesting.
Absolutely. I think actually all of them, and I don't know, for those of you who are in the Rocket League scene have definitely seen Kyotech's Rocket League bot. OptiV2 is probably one of the most known Rocket League bots, I would say, from just for the sheer amount of YouTube videos made about it. I would assume that it is definitely really top. And then Philip V2 from Melee just played against, if BY was here, he would correct me, but I think it's AMA, Amasa. Oh my gosh, I don't know Smash players. So I'm sure BY will chastise me later, but he seems like a pretty top Smash player. So that's coming up. I don't know if production wants to come back to us. And it's I'm excited. That will be the Friday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. All here on this channel. Be subscribed, and I'll be taking for that panel. If you're if you're either a channel member or one of our actual members, I'll be taking questions from you first. You'll have priority questions, and then we'll take questions from the chat. So definitely check out one of those elements of supporting our work or elements like that. And you can ask questions of these lovely people, and then you can be there at the panel. I'll be hosting it. So definitely, I will be straight up. I am not as smart as any of these people here, but I'm very curious and I have a lot of questions. So I hope you all will learn something and you'll have a good time.
Great.
So, yeah.
That'd be good.
Yeah. Ketrock, are you familiar with any of the people on that panel?
No. I remember watching a long video about a Rocket League bot that was pretty competitive at the highest level. So I'm not sure if that's the same bot or not, but that's about the closest I have to any of him there. Timo I know from Discord. He's pops in every once in a while to talk about what AlphaStar did.
Yeah. One of the things he's gonna be talking about is that obviously he's taken a lot of time to think about how to how they would approach AlphaStar at a smaller scale. So he's gonna be bringing that element there from himself, and also some law papers have come out since obviously AlphaStar. So AlphaStar Unplugged has been white paper for those of you who are white paper nerds out there, like myself, who will check out these white papers. I don't read them all, but I do like to read a good amount of summaries of them. But they changed up some of the styles of how to train the replays as opposed to all the super live replays. I won't get into it. We'll get into it then. Let's talk about these rectangles. Let's talk about how this tournament has come to be.
So basically, we started off with the left rectangle. That was the group stage rectangle. 2 of the bots from each of the 4 rectangles survived the rectangle, and 2 of them were brutally killed. Then The 2 that survived moved on to the right rectangle to make a total of 8, where we will start with the quarterfinals, which is tonight, which will be a single elimination. Originally 2 chances. If you lost, you could claw your way back in. We're done with that crap. If you lose, you're dead. We've switched to hardcore WoW mode. That's the meta again.
Does WoW still have a hardcore mode? I remember that from the first early days of WoW.
It does. So it does still have one, and like every now and then, like the Twitch people will like randomly switch back to it and play it for like a month or 2, and it becomes like it takes over everything, and they're doing that again now.
I didn't realize that. Is it if you die you lose everything? Is that hardcore or
yeah? Hardcore is you do. It's hardcore classic, so you play like the vanilla WoW, or I don't know if it's only the first one or the first couple expansions, but whatever. But it's you play that, and if you die, you're dead. Your character's deleted.
I mean, I didn't realize modern gamers still had that appetite for that kind of that's a really.
I think it has that nostalgia. It's like I did it too when that came out. I went back and played it for a bit. Because I played WoW in like 2004, like when it came out. But I think there's like the game itself. One, the retail is totally different now, so people kind of like, didn't keep up with that. But I think it's like it's the challenge. I think the hardcore is the point to see, can you just get to level 60 without dying?
I mean, I like it, and that's very Dark Soul-esque, and so I'm totally into it. I thought that kind of flavor of MMORPG had fallen off in there. It was like, I'm from the era of the Korean RPGs where you grind until you essentially.
Well, I feel it's us. Like it's. I mean, there's some streamers doing it that are like younger and stuff, but they're being pulled into it by the older guy, like Soda Poppins. I mean, he's not. He's old for a streamer. Like that's sort of like he's kind of like the people that are like the day one streamers that are like 36 or something. They pulled the younger guys in, but it's those guys that are doing it, or people like me that, I'll go play it for a few days and die just to see.
Well, it doesn't get old. The bracket. Let's see what's going on and where we are in this storyline.
Yeah. So here's a whole new set of rectangles that we have not revealed yet, which is the round of 8 rectangles. Sharkbot will be up against DominionDog here. Then we've got Caninana up against MicroMachine. And then we've got 2. We should have mixed these up so that long names were with short names. Xena versus Zozo will be an interesting one. Zozo very rushy. Xena random. Could be different results. And then we get Tier T up against Deimos, showing off Deimos's Protoss vibes.
Now, I'm wondering if Deimos, I'm don't have the bracket in the main bracket from here. Is that because he is down there because of where he placed in
each one of these? I think is a 1 versus a 2.
Yeah,
that's the way it should be. Yeah, so
it's
whoever got out of their group cleanly and then who made it through the constellation. So it's a 1 versus 2 in each case. And I don't think shouldn't be anyone from the same group, so there should be no rematches here.
No. And I think it's really fascinating that we have Deimos versus Tier, and this feels like a last season rematch. Well, I guess it wasn't Deimos.
It wasn't Deimos. Yeah, it was Phobos then, right?
Totally forgot. It's like they're clones.
So then that was a TVT at the time. This will be a TVP. Actually, no mirror. Well, Xena and Zozo could be a mirror, but it's random.
Yeah. And before I let you guys take over for the individual match, I wanted to talk about what are your predictions after seeing that bracket for the finals? Who do you think we might see in the finals?
That's a hard one. Like this is probably the first one where I don't just know as a lock even one person, because there's no Eris, there's no Ketrox out, which is usually not just because he's here, but usually a lock to be round four finals. Deimos, Deimos being Deimos instead of Phobos or Eris, I don't know. Sharkbot is really strong, but then he actually struggled in the final round to get here. Won, but didn't win clean at all. So I don't know. It's a tough one. The one that I might think if I can actually say, if Xena beats Zozo, then I think Xena gets all the way through.
Ooh.
But Zozo could just shut it down. Like, so far, we haven't really seen many people deal with Zozo's just Zealot Rush well.
It's very vicious. Early game is really pretty brutal. Cat Rock, you fell to that. You actually, do you have any insight on that before we get your thoughts on the overall?
I mean, my bot was doing maybe the worst strategies possible versus Cheese, so I don't know how it had such a high win rate on ladder. You may have gamed my bot a little bit to get it to use its terrible strategies. But yeah, I didn't get time to do any updates to my bot between the first time I lost to Zozo and the second time, so I was just crossing my fingers you pick a different strategy and you didn't, so
Fair enough.
but yeah, I'm a little out of touch with the scene, so I don't really have a good prediction on who's going to win. Probably whoever's working on their bot the most nowadays. So I think DominionDog has been working more on his bots of late, so he's maybe a name to look out for. Deimos is probably a favorite, I would say. But other than that, it could be anyone.
Absolutely. All right, well, boys, I will let you guys take us to our first match and discussing the matchups. All right, take it away.
Will do. And yeah, I think you're right. Like DominionDog and Sharkbot works on his by kind of like he'll code in entirely new builds because he is kind of trying to snipe individual opponents and stuff, and then he'll write a poem about it, which is good. But then we've seen some inconsistency with that, where in last week's matchup to get here, he had coded a build that was intended to shut down his opponent, and it won, but it didn't look good.
Yeah.
It was enough, but it didn't look good.
You try to throw something together quickly to snipe, and then just sniping, you don't want to practice it on the live ladder.
Yeah.
So you don't really know how it's going to work out. So those snipe builds are oftentimes prone to bugs or going haywire or not doing what you expect them to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the problem. You design it and it's kind of untested. And he kind of mentioned that in the weaknesses there, that like cheeses attract bugs, especially when they're brand new cheeses. Like you don't know what it's going to do. Yeah, and so the bot reads the internet. So has learned some strategies from BattleNet and probably become incredibly racist. Yeah, so I mean, this is one of the most adaptable bots that there is. Like, new builds very often that come in. Like pretty much every update, he'll put in entirely new builds. And again, new poems like this is supposed to be, but it's cut off, I think. But yeah, this is from a while back. But putting in adepts, putting in stuff like Proxy Void Rays a few seasons ago, Proxy Tempest, just different things to try and shut things down.
Oh, he did learn to chat on BattleNet. No wonder he had his social issues.
Yeah, I don't know what. Does DJ mean something? Then it was a DJ and a moderator. Do you mean DJ? Or I don't know what that means. Was it actually a disc jockey at some point? Or like, I don't know. DominionDog, yeah. So I find that misleading. Says it only uses one build, but it's an adaptable build. Like it changes. Yeah. It's not just following the same thing.
I mean, like Eris uses one build and he's unbeatable. So yeah. As long as the build can adapt and change to what your opponent's doing, that's fine. It's actually probably the best way to code your bot. Because it's hard to make your bot be really strong in all the nuances of the game while doing many different types of builds.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, just get like one main theme that kind of works and then try and scout and adapt and whatever. Particularly, I think Terran is almost the most... You can't build the wrong thing with Terran. Just build some bio and tanks and you're fine. Like it's like 99.9% of anything in some ways. Yeah. So I don't totally know. I don't know too whether Sharkbot will have thought ahead to have coded for DominionDog. Specifically not, despite like the updates, may not known who was going to get out of what group and, you know, in what order, etc. So that might be a tough one, but I think overall Sharkbot still that may actually be to his benefit. He's got enough good, strong, generic builds.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he's always been my outside pick to win it all. He says there's a lot of things Sharkbot does extremely well, maybe better than anyone else, but certainly what he has is variety. He uses every single tool that Protoss has, and then some.
Yeah, definitely, pretty much. He's almost like taken the spot of the tier Protoss. Like now the tiers switched to Terran. It was tier for many years. That was the adaptable new build. Like had like 100 different Protoss builds, used everything, like that sort of thing. And Sharkbot's kind of taken that sort of mantle as tiers moved to Terran.
Yeah.
So let's not delay anymore. Hop into these games and see where it takes us. And kind of splitting up here. And then semi-reconverging, one of them putting down a pylon. Sharkbot has done a lot of this kind of proxy pylon with like a cannon position or something like that. You're going for the pylon block at the top of the ramp. And then picking on that SCV building things. Yeah, gateways.
All the idea is to try to keep the Terran from walling off his main ramp so you can get all the zealots in there. I don't suspect we're going to see any gas taken. This feels like it's going to be one of those mass zealot all-ins.
Yeah, and he's done the gas steal on DominionDog side there as well. Coming back in with another pylon, and he's still trying to go after that SCV. If he was able to finish that off, yeah, then that would be a good...
yeah, that could be a big delay on the first Marine. All depends how fast you get an SCV back on it. Although it doesn't look like DominionDog was even planning to wall off, so not the biggest deal. Although missing the gas is a big deal. If you wanted to build like a Reaper in a factory, that's out of off the table now.
Yeah, it is a Reaper coming out first. Gateways, I think one gateway is finished, but it's not building yet. There's Zealot. Yeah, I thought that one was finished and it's not doing anything quite yet, but he doesn't have the minerals. There we go.
Yeah, those pylons, they're almost paying for themselves and then some. A lot of SCVs off the line to deal with them, so that's actually really cutting into the early economy of DominionDog.
Yeah, and same with that extractor that he's pulling SCVs to try and deal with that. And yeah, it looks like he is at least trying to wall with bunker or with depots. So if he is prevented from doing so, then that is a positive thing.
I can't imagine this Reaper ever dying to Zealots. So the question is, can these Zealots get in the middle line and disrupt the mining? Or will they just like very, very slowly die to Reapers over time? Oh.
Well, you say that, yeah. You didn't know what to do there. Oh, now he's kind of rocking a hard place. And that one damaged Zealot really lived a long time past its expiration date. This one won't live quite as long, but doing some damage.
Yeah, Reapers are recharging back to full health again. If that Reaper went down, that could have been still a lot of trouble with just 2 Marines remaining, but so good.
Now I think we've got to get... Yeah. He's got to kind of have these clump up naturally, one at a time. Will be easy to pick off if he's got 3 coming up at once, and then each one of them goes for you know, its own target, then that would be harder to deal with. Yeah, he will be able to kite.
Yeah,
better
it's
and better.
just way too much Terran now.
So,
If he's lucky, he'll get 1 Marine per Zealot he sends in there, but it doesn't even seem like that's going to be possible. But nice idea to transition, as this rush is really not going to work out.
yeah, he's not that far behind right now. This wasn't too bad, especially if he can keep these gateways in the forward position alive. If they get picked off, that's a bit of an investment, but you can run them from there as long as nobody comes to take them down.
Yeah. Unit's lost tab, though, is probably a different story. There is a lot of
Yeah.
lost mining time for DominionDog, but he hasn't really lost almost anything. And he's picked off 10 Zealots, 3 Pylons. Oh my goodness. So much.
Yeah. Part of this transition should be that he stops sending the zealots.
Yeah.
So if he keeps-
That would make sense, too.
If he keeps doing that, then that kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah, especially like what was the gas for at this point? Okay, Stalkers are on the menu now. And they can do well versus Marines that don't have upgrades, as well as Reapers, but not really so much so when the numbers are like this.
Yeah, it's a pretty big one. If he held these last few back and you had 3 zealots and a stalker, then you're okay. But yeah, now if the stalker kind of gets pinned down, that dies quick. But the mobility works in his favor.
Yeah. I mean, Reapers can run them down, but they outrange Marines and they can recharge shields, and they're much quicker than Marines. However,
That's good.
it does get picked off, yeah.
And he's gone back to just making zealots. Shield battery, okay, but doesn't help.
Doesn't get the SCV, so that's something.
Yeah.
But we got a quadruple expand out of DominionDog here. I suspect that early gas steal is kind of throwing DominionDog's build into or a loop, and they end up with way too much minerals. But lots of pretty good spending the money, so the quintuple expand. I guess that's quadruple.
What about?
5 bases, 4 expansions.
And yeah, okay, game there stuttered for me again. Stalker coming out, pretty big army here, and will be picked off. It may be in his long run benefit that these get taken out. 'Cause
Yeah, I was
they
about to
weren't
say.
showing any sign of stopping what they were doing, and they need to. Are you getting this freezing again?
I'm okay, actually, yeah.
Okay.
So 4 Reapers, 6 Marines, 5 Reapers actually. There's a lot of Reapers and Marines here. Yeah, the proxy does go down, so at least that means Sharkbot won't be throwing away money anymore. It does have a natural base on the way himself. Shield battery, couple shield batteries up. He's actually transitioning into Stargate. However, he's not going to get the time. DominionDog is immediately pushing across the map.
Yeah.
Very good decision, as Sharkbot will be extremely weak right now, having lost all of his production. Reapers actually jumped directly into the main base, and it's not going to actually prevent the warp gate from finishing.
Yeah, I like that he kind of. I don't know what part of a plan this was, because it's usually wrong, but continuing to make the Reapers was actually pretty good here.
Yeah, I mean, if you get Zealot all in, I like the idea of spending all your money, and I like Reapers more than Marines in that case, just because of their speed. But, yeah, maybe this was actually going to be some sort of mass Reaper cheese from to begin with, and Sharkbot beat him to the punch. The game's cheesing.
Yeah, quite possible. They'll try to out-DPS the shield battery here.
That is that. Very quick one for DominionDog.
Indeed it was. So yeah, will that be indicative? Sharkbot definitely is known to change strategies if things like this don't pan out. So we'll have to see what his response
Oh yeah,
ends up being.
I did see a little message there from DominionDog during the game. He was trying to wall off quickly, so
Yeah.
these pylons were resting him up in that regard.
Yeah, I think we've seen him do that 3 depot wall before and not put the barracks in it. I don't know why. Maybe he doesn't just put the barracks in it, but either way.
Structure placement is really hard
Yeah,
for Terran authors, so sometimes you set up you build your base, and like these are the places that I put my 3x3 structures and leave room for add-ons, and the wall I'll just leave to depots eventually. which is fine unless you're getting cheesed right at the start of the game. And then you're like, man, I wish I had that wall up faster.
Yeah, that would be better. Yeah, and it's hard, I imagine, on the fly to like adapt to that. Like a huge part of like particularly early StarCraft Protoss stuff was like building wall after wall after wall, like multiple deep, because you lose your front thing, and like adapting and getting creative with how you build. But that's probably pretty hard to do on the fly. If it's not according to the plan, then the building placement becomes pretty difficult.
Yeah. Anything terrain based is very easy for humans to figure out, and probably the most difficult thing for bots to figure out. So
definitely. So yeah, see if Sharkbot adapts to this, does something else as we jump into game number 2.
Sharkbot. Sharkbot. DominionDog.
all right, no probes running across the map this time, so that's good to see, I think.
Yeah, nothing too sneaky just yet.
I mean, I only know from my own perspective, but my bots, like traditionally, I was almost always beaten DominionDog in long games, and almost always lost to Sharkbot in long games. So I'd like to see a long macro game out of Sharkbot, because I think you might have a bit of an edge in that regard.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always there's some bots that like the cheese. Like I think just the author likes the cheese, but then when they play like a 6-base 25-minute long game, they're dominant. So it's just more of a preference than this is better. I always think if you're capable of playing just those big, complicated, long games, then that's safer in a way. The cheese can be shut down by a lot of things that kind of coincidentally happen, or it just doesn't hit right, or whatever. Whereas if you just play long dominant, you know, if you're winning, you're winning.
Mm-hmm. So, just a single gas out to DominionDog, so allows him to get the Reaper and the orbital commands, but no factory, so he's probably planning to expand sooner than later. Sharkbot actually taking down a very fast expansion. Nexus before building a single gateway unit. And relying on the stalkers or depths to start off with, I guess. He did have a depths in his poem, so maybe he'll be doing some adept play.
That's true. That is true. And I think he knows if it's designed for this opponent in specific, then he knows that DominionDog kind of does a similar timing each time. So he's kind of got a clock on when it is, and there is an adept coming.
Another unit that's very good versus both Marines and Reapers, so that could work out well. And Twilight Council,
Twilight.
will it be going for Glaive Adepts? Or is it just more standard things?
Quite possible. I think we've also seen him do like adept opening into Blank Stalker in the past, so we'll see when that finishes what he goes for.
Something going up the front for DominionDog, that might be a bunker, so he might be taking a more defensive stance. The Reaper looking around, making sure there's no ninja bases. Something I haven't seen a bot do in a really long time is attempt a ninja base. Just
Yeah, should do more of that. I think they tend to, every now and then someone will do it, but they give away their own position because they just rally things to it and stuff. Like they're not good at the secrecy part of it.
That's true. That happens a lot in bot games, where like something's secret, but then you accidentally lure the opponent there. It's like, let me just retreat back towards that secret location I have.
Adept coming in does not finish the shade, despite being behind enemy lines.
Yeah, probably had a little bit of opportunity there. There's just 2 Marines in that bunker.
And it is Blink, and he's getting Robo. We may be seeing some of that Warp Prism Blink play, which is somewhat redundant, but he was doing it before.
Yeah, that's true. We have seen some really cool Warp Prism play out of Sharkbots. Even Warp Prism mining is something this bot is capable of. But looks like a strong build versus Blinkstalker, if I'm seeing this right. It looks like it's going to be like Marine Marauder tank with bio upgrades on the way, so That is a composition that absolutely shreds Blink Stalkers.
Yeah, quite true. And I think too, it's the Warp Prism plus Blink at the same time is awkward to me. Of like, you can make it work, but it's kind of, they do the same thing, is the point. And then the way I think he's been controlling his Prism is a little more forward than you might want it. It was pulling back damage units, but then sometimes dropping units directly into trouble. But he is going for the potentially Colossus, maybe Disruptor, but Blink Disruptor would be interesting. Disruptor is still a little, I think, hard for bots, but it's kind of hard on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, Sharkbot is definitely capable of using all Protoss units. There's not a unit I haven't seen him like pull out in a game and use somewhat decently. So we'll have to see what comes out. Immortal to start with, though, as the Robo Bay is not yet complete. Second Robo, okay. Double Colossus, here we go. All right, that's your answer. Right, so maybe Prison Colossus play. That's actually something that was really strong in the human meta for a while.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you get the range for it, and then that can, very much stay alive for a long time.
I think all the all-ins that were based on teching up really fast, so like Prism Colossus Harass being one of those examples, is one of those things that just went out of favor when the 12 workers start came to the game.
Yeah.
Because everything ramps up faster, but tech doesn't. But interestingly enough, now the talk in the community is actually, should we go back to 6 workers again? So
yeah, I've seen some of that lately. I kind of think, I think that would be nice. Maybe not all the way to 6. Some people were saying like, well, what about 9? And then you're still making decisions. I think it's kind of, you're right. It compressed the early timing, and it compressed some of the early scouting. I think that like, there were things that you could tell from the early thing of like, okay, he pulled 3 guys to gas here, so he can't possibly have enough minerals to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And that really wasn't true anymore, because there were just too many to begin with. Yeah, it just compressed things. Yeah,
there's less you could do when you have the smaller economy. I remember when I had scouted a Protoss, it's like I'd see a Twilight Council, and it's like, okay, I know he's going Blink Stalker or maybe DTs or something. Now you walk into a Protoss space, and every single time you walk in, there's always a Twilight Council, there's always a Robo.
Yeah,
and sometimes there's a Stargate too. So it's like, okay, he's doing one of anything, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's not a committed path in the same way it was, and you do multiple. And it became like totally normal to make a Stargate and make 1 unit, and then just abandon it.
Okay, big powerful push coming out here. With extra power, actually, because there's no medevac, so it's going to have a bigger initial punch, although it won't have the gradual healing over time. And I'm not sure if he's going to be able to hold this. He does not have range on his Colossus yet. Those siege tanks are pretty scary. Really, it does have a good-sized army, I gotta say.
Yeah, the Colossus not really participating yet. They're coming in. Good initial, but then there just wasn't the staying power, and again, the Colossus didn't come in. Their range isn't done. We'll finish up in a second. Tank's really good against Colossus.
Yeah, but I think that's why they stayed back at they knew, as soon as they saw where the tanks were, they're like, I'm not stepping into that zone. So they're willing to get in range of all the bio, but staying outside the tank range, and that's trying to keep them alive, which is nice. And now that lack of medevac healing is starting to show. They've taken some swipes.
There's one to join, but he's got a lot of targets. A little a little manic with the beam there for a second.
Like a disco. Yeah, I mean, that was a lot of stalkers that went down though, so I think that was still a good attack for DominionDog overall.
Yeah.
Although I gotta say, if you want something to survive for Sharkbot, the Colossus is the most important of the units.
For sure. Had he lost those, then it's over already. He can replace the gateway. You can't really reset the Colossus number and be okay. But can he replace the gateway in time, given that he's already attacking again? Probably not really.
Yeah, and these tanks are going to get a really good position. You know, if he can source the siege up early, that's one thing, but now he's got to fight the... Oh, was only one tank there. Okay. I mean, he did lose a whole bunch of pros, but I think he might be able to survive this.
Yeah, the splitting up of the army between the two bases caused them to then not engage all at the same time. So, had like 5 Colossus, 2 Immortals, like gateway units or not, that's a lot.
Yeah, and I love the micro there. I noticed the Colossus were not scared of being in there until they got low in shields, so then they would hesitate and go back further. And the Immortals themselves, which usually are very bad versus Marine Marauder because they always end up shooting Marines, they were specifically focus firing the Marauders in those groups, which is something that they typically can't do under human control.
Now we just get the Shredder there on 2 sides from behind, and now the economy difference is just gigantic.
Yeah, I mean, DominionDog just slaughtered everything, but he's got to survive, and like, he just doesn't have it. Units are coming out of his production and just walking to their death one at a time.
Vikings, if he can get a decent number out there as one, could just wipe this because there's only 3 stalkers on the ground, but he's got to at least get a few to be able to do that, and is not at the moment.
Mortals got in there, picking up the Marauder and the Siege Tank. Storm.
Nice Storm. And yeah, just no way to group up enough bio to do anything.
Yeah, I mean, that is a small weakness we've seen in DominionDog in the past, is when he doesn't have the army size to fight, he's still, when he needs to defend, he goes. Some bots have the opposite problem, but he's like, I need to go to attack, I need to go defend, even if I don't have enough.
Sure, in on this, so a good I guess hold and come back, but I think DominionDog gave him the window to come in there by splitting his army up. The one tank that was there was positioned as like the first thing they attacked, which is kind of unfortunate for
and there's that one tank, which is unfortunate. Yeah, and like right before this, like DominionDog basically won the game. He just wiped out 2 mineral lines. So
yeah,
his goal was, if I survive, I win. But the first part of that sentence is what cost him.
That's the hard part. Yeah, definitely. It's often the case, like if someone takes massive economic damage, you have to counterpunch right then. And he did, and that was the win. So yeah, we're at 1-1 now, and that was a good example of just a Sharkbot kind of macro game going a bit later, and even with the loss again, like you could definitely see if he wasn't attacked at all in the first place, and then you had that sort of gateway stuff with like then 6 Colossus behind it. It's just a juggernaut. So that weakened him, but then ultimately there wasn't enough to take out the big units that were remaining alive. So let's hop into game number 3 to see who carries on, who dies.
Sharkbot. DominionDog.
Whoever loses this game is out of the tournament, which is kind of sad because these are 2 of my favorite bots, actually. Got my Java brother and DominionDog, and Sharkbot, who's always my pick to win it all, even though he never comes close.
He may this time maybe surprise us. He didn't send out any proxies or anything, doing normal stuff. And DominionDog, we can largely expect to do a pretty similar thing. And then see if it's. I mean, there was nothing wrong with the first way he hit. I guess it was the second one that went in and like kind of got split into a couple components, just the way I think the map was there, that he saw 2 bases and went for him, which is okay if you then respond well when the attack comes. Everything just kind of fell wrong there. The angle that the attack came from after that was against him.
And like originally it looked like so deadly because he got like a sieged up position between the bases while Sharkbot was way out of position.
Yeah.
It's like perfect for him. But then he couldn't help the temptation of all those probes. It's like, oh, 2 bases of probes. Let me just pile all my bio in there and leave the tanks for themselves.
Yeah. It's quite true. Both of them expanding at the moment.
Reaper on the way out of DominionDog. I suspect we're going to see that early adept play again. Oh, no little crap CV there.
Almost let him free.
So close.
And then the depth again.
That's interesting. So DominionDog like kind of makes his conclusion when his scout dies.
Yeah.
Before it dies, he's still keeping his options open, I guess.
Makes sense. Yeah, makes sense to have kind of either when it dies, you might as well decide now, or at a certain time you can commit. If it was still alive for like 6 minutes, you have to make some decisions. There's the Robo Facility.
I remember J-Dong used to play that way when he was playing StarCraft 2. Mm-hmm. Unlike other Zergs, he would just have a huge bank and a lot of larvae. And he wouldn't spend it. Everyone else is like, always gotta spend your money, always gotta spend your money. Yeah. J-Dong would just sit on all of it and wait until he decided exactly what he wants. So then he would just spend all of his larvae with that giant bank.
I think that's the key. Like, the key is recognizing the difference, and like why that works is the reason the other races, or in most cases you have to spend your money, is because if you don't, you're giving up cycles.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're not using your gateway, you're wasting your gateway. But if you've got a larva, then it will just sit there. And then when you go to build, it builds instantly. So as long as you're not banking it way past your larva limit, then you're not losing it.
Yeah, you lose the natural larva generation,
natural,
but you can still stack injects on top of injects on top of injects, so you can still... Like, injecting is the main source of larva anyways, not really the natural production. So let me just look at the production tab here. It looks very similar to game 1. We do have that Robo Bay going down once again, and the Marine Tank Marauder on position. So it looks like we're going to have a pretty good repeat of the last game, and that's okay by me, because last game was right on a knife's edge for the whole time. It was going a little back and forth, and work out either way.
Yeah, and I think I'm trying to think of the path he's going to end up taking in here. And it seems like if you just kind of come across, you're going to run into the third first.
Yeah. The less likely that he gets split into 2, we'll say, because he's going to pass by the third to get to the natural. Unless he comes up from the south, then maybe. But it doesn't seem like that would be the path he would take.
Yeah, you'd have to end up all the way around here, which I don't think makes sense.
Unless, he suspects that Ortez might have taken that 9 o'clock base, then you might head to that base first, see there's nothing there, and then head north. It all depends what third base you're checking out first.
Yeah, true. And of course, again, they're bots. You can get baited by a single unit, one direction or another, or whatever.
As we saw in DominionDog's base, that's why you don't put your initial barracks on the wall.
Yeah.
Because you got to have them stacked in like these neat little rows, otherwise your algorithm for figuring out where to place structures end up trapping all your units inside.
Yeah. The Colossus meetup.
A lot of initial bots will start with just taking a random location just to throw down structures, and they end up like spawning pools in the middle of their mineral line and things like that. So
yeah, definitely. We've seen that sort of behavior.
Nice little defensive spot there. I like that bunker placement. Kind of using the command center itself almost as part of the wall.
Yeah. Yeah, that is pretty decent. He's now getting up to a reasonable army size. I feel like he went, I don't know whether Sharkbot's ahead or DominionDog's a little behind, but like definitely the range of the Colossus was not done when DominionDog moved out last time. And he's already getting the Templar archives here.
Yeah, that is true. I'm not sure what changed from the previous game match.
Looks like he's grouping up for maybe the move now.
We didn't see the Adept harassing either in this game, did we?
Yeah.
Yeah, so some minor changes. Yeah, it's interesting. So salvaging the bunker up to a couple tanks. Yeah, he definitely doesn't keep the factory producing nonstop. He produces prefers to spend his money on the bio over the siege tanks. So 2 tanks in as part of this push is a little scary for DominionDog. I feel like you want more if you're going into Colossus with range. The bio is just not going to be good, especially without the medevac ceiling. You don't have Vikings to like slowly take down the Colossi, and now he's actually getting attacked from the high ground.
Yeah, pretty bad angle of initial attack here. The tank sieging up late from behind will be good, but they can be spotted. Yeah, at pretty high range.
And with the range of those Colossi, he was able to fight all the bio outside of the tank range, which is exactly what he needed.
Yeah, so much more, like, I mean, literally the type of thing you see happen in, like, ancient war disasters of, like, somebody wandered into a valley and there's an army on 2 sides of it.
It's like Colossus there with, like, 1 hit point on it. It's like War of the Worlds, man. This is Wing to Liberty. This is the last time I've seen like 7 Colossus out of a ProBots player.
Still good. I mean, especially if your opponent isn't doing some of the things that kind of stop this. You know, Vikings and things like that would shut it down. But there isn't any of that, so just these with no other units is apparently fine.
Yeah, and here's the trickle once again. DominionDog is one of those bots like he needs to be ahead. When he's ahead, he looks so dominant. But when he falls behind, there's really just not the logic to to take it easy, take a defensive stance.
A single Viking here will put in some work. It's too late and everything, but
that's true. There is no stalkers here. I'm not sure where.
He's making an oracle. And 2 observers.
Yeah, is he just pulling an army at home? I'm actually shocked that these Colossus are here by themselves. Yeah. So, I mean, even losing 7 Colossi, I think that's still a very good attack with the economy he has going for him. Shut down the 3rd base, probably killed some workers. Oh, there's some more going down to Templar. Yeah. Finally, it's a stalker rise. It would have only taken like 1 or 2 stalkers because there is no bio left. You might get that. No, doesn't get the.
There's a repair
there.
Yeah, repair on it. But yeah, he's down to 26 workers. A storm there hit the turret and a bunch of workers as well. But yeah, now Sharkbot almost felt for a little bit there. He kind of was just doing a touchdown dance or something and stop making units.
Yeah, I mean, like I couldn't figure out where his money was going. It's like he's got like 5 fully mining bases. Like he did expand more. He did go up into disruptors. He might be silent a little bit here. He's like, let me try my next show you my next trick here. So Liberator getting some nice kills, and this is exactly what DominionDog needs if he has any chance of getting back into this game. He wanted to just get kills and not lose anything. Is what's happening. It's very nice.
Yeah, I think he's got to expand or something again, although he doesn't even have the workers to fully saturate all this stuff.
Fleet Beacon.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Sharkbot is just styling a bit and making everything. Which, from his perspective, he's on 7 bases. Like, might as well.
So the question is, does DominionDog have the concept of saving up to expand? Or is he just going to spend all of his money as it comes in and he'll never be able to afford that next base? Because he had the right production for 3 bases, but now he has 3 base production but only 2 bases mining, and main base is probably half mined out, so... Structure Bell is going after something called Wild Storm. Server does go down, that's something. Oh, we're seeing the prison micro.
It knows that's Haluk, at least.
Gosh, the splash damage is everywhere. Oh, he does make an Archon right in the Liberator range. That's not good for him.
Yeah, he's like, it doesn't feel like these are actually like cost efficient fights or anything, but it doesn't matter. Right?
Yeah.
Like, it's as long as he keeps his numbers down, it's fine.
The fact that DominionDog's here makes me think he wants to take a third. Like, this game is over unless he starts expanding.
It does feel like, yeah, he's trying to like secure this as a position. Let's see.
Alright, what's next on the cards here? what's Sharkbot going to show us next? This is good. He does get knocked out too early, and because he cheeses too often, and we never get to see his late game, so it is nice to see some of these storms and things out of Sharkbot.
Yeah, even stuff like throwing in the random phoenixes and throwing in like the hallucinated Archon while that's not fooling him. I can see that being disruptive to other things. Storm Disruptor combo is interesting.
Phoenix is one of those units that hasn't really been explored enough by bots. I think -0 is the only bot who really used Phoenix well. If you think about it, theoretically, they are the fastest air unit in the game, which means they never have to take damage unless you choose to walk into damage range. It's one of those units that can always be safe, which is really scary. And with the range upgrade, they can actually outrange like a lot of things besides maybe Vikings.
Yeah, and the pickup mechanics are so like micro intensive, but I think that's maybe the downfall is the pickup mechanics require cooperation.
Yeah, that will take strong logic to do well. But like even if you ignore that altogether, it's one of those like really strong anti-air units in the hands of a bot. But anyways, congratulations to Sharkbot, who will be moving on, and DominionDog going to the scrap pile.
Yeah,
made the final 8 though, so that's so impressive.
Yeah, pretty good. Just kind of in this attack here, just absolute meat grinder situation. We were talking about the path that he was going to take, and like while that is, you know, what we predicted and is the most like natural path to take from every tactical point of view, it's terrible. That's the problem. Once someone's taken that base and like they see you coming into their valley of death, and that's what happened. So
yeah, and that DominionDog attack, which is like all bio, all upgrades, and very little support units. It's all about that initial punch, and if you don't get that punch, it's
you're engaged.
It's not gonna, the follow-up's not going to be good.
Yeah, exactly. So there we go. Sharkbot advancing on to match number 2 of the night, which is going to be MicroMachine versus Caninana. And this one's pretty good too. It's again kind of a like the gatekeeper check in a way of like MicroMachine, which hasn't really been updated for quite a while, against Caninana, a kind of newer side bot that has been innovating a fair bit. We've got MicroMachine down here as 8 appearances, but I think it's more like 18. It's like every one since the start, basically. Caninana here, bot with reactive playstyle, tries to survive the early game and play mid to late with spellcasters.
Nice.
And yeah, issues dealing with cheese and timing attacks. MicroMachine certainly can get aggressive early, but I wouldn't call it like a cheese or an all-in or anything.
No, he's just really good with his like early harass units, his banshees, his reapers, but the whole time he's macroing behind that.
And yeah, so good combat simulation skills. Army splitting, etc., which you're going to need against MicroMachine to do well. And yeah, only Rustbot to frequently qualify. Yeah, I think there have been.
I forgot. Like Caninana's made a Rust.
Yeah,
interesting.
That's how they roll.
Yeah. This will be a good one. The thing I'm most excited for is, I would suspect, of all the bots in the ladder, the one that has the most lines of code dedicated to microing battle cruisers is actually Caninana. So I'm hoping MicroMachine goes PCs and we get to see some some neuroparasites going on.
Oh, makes sense. MicroMachine, like you said, hasn't changed in years. Fundamentally, has had little updates, mostly updating the portrait of the bot. And learning method, it kind of adapts to things. It largely does a similar thing over and over, but it's just kind of a complex thing in the first place.
Anything special? There we go.
Yeah. Same thing.
Combat simulator. Yeah,
he'll call it. Yeah, he calls it out, so you can actually see this in chat. That he will announce kind of a supply on his side, supply on opponent's side, and then kind of say, I'm attacking, I'm calling off the attack, I'm retreating, whatever.
If I recall correctly, I think that might actually be something that dates back to Brood War bots.
Yeah.
This MicroMachine is built in C++, which is built on a framework that was meant for the Brood War, and it was adapted for SC2. And I think that combat sim is like something they had way back then. So it looks basically at army sizes and army costs and decides whether you can win a fight or not, and uses that to decide whether to jump in or not on the attack. So we do have a best of 3, and the first one out, or whoever loses will be out of the tournament.
Indeed.
That's ready to go. 1 more minute. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, like you said, MicroMachine hasn't been updated for a long time, so I definitely think Caninana has the advantage here, but if there's a bot not to be upgraded and it can still beat everyone, it's definitely MicroMachine.
Yeah, exactly. MicroMachine is still made like the semifinals sometimes, despite not being updated. Like,
yeah, he won an SC2 AI tournament long after he wasn't updated, including beating Eris. So he won so many of those things. Even when he stopped updating the bot, he still ends up winning one more of them.
Yeah, I think that's what makes it kind of like such a skill check. Is it's sometimes I think the meta will shift enough that it shifts out of the point where you're beating him. Like people are trying to cheat too much one way or get too fancy one way, and it's like, yeah, here's your chump check that you can't deal with these cyclones. So yeah, well, let's hop into game number 1 and see what it looks like.
Caninana. MicroMachine.
All right, so nothing running across the map. We didn't expect that for these two bots. They are MicroMachine has a couple cheeses built in his bot, but for the most part, these are both 2 macro-focused bots, especially Caninana, who I don't think has ever proxied to anything in the entire lifetime of his bot.
Can't imagine. I almost think at the very beginning, I think Caninana did kind of a roach timing sort of thing, and then it's kind of evolved from there into more wholesome macro.
Yeah, he might have had that in ProBots, but on the ladder, like he started as I want to get to 5 bases sort of bot, which is a crazy way to start. He was just getting like cheesed to death because that's what the bot meta is like, especially in the lower leagues. But you die one thing a lot, you make some code changes, you don't die that anymore, you just keep repeating that, and all of a sudden now you're getting into that 5-base game that you wanted. Although I will say the patch they wanted to bring to StarCraft 2 was actually going to bring back the proxy hatch spine rushes.
Oh yeah,
they made hatcheries cheaper, they made spine crawlers do more damage, and
they were getting a bit crazy with the balance. Go back to buffing the time of the bunker. That's like minor changes, and they were I mean, it's good to think outside the box some ways, but like 14 years in, being like, you know what, Nexuses can fly. I think that's too much.
I don't know. I mean, the game is super I
I
kind of like more of the other piece of mind is like, who cares if we break balance? Let's just make the game being completely new again. Do some crazy stuff. But I think they made the queen cost a little bit more, and because of that, they gave Zerg like a whole bunch of early game things in compensation. 2 of them were the spine and the hatchery. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
oh, proxy hatch. That's still kind of a thing, you know. No one all of a sudden's way stronger. Reaper getting nice work down here. Hasn't really killed much of anything, but he is staying alive and getting plenty of scouting done. We'll see the Roach Warren. That's something.
We get the burrow started as well. The burrow almost always seems like a good idea.
Yep.
It's never not good. Just in how much it confuses everyone.
So I think during the era where MicroMachine was absolutely unbeatable, one of the first bots to actually knock him out of a tournament was Spiny, who was an early iteration of Eris. And he did so with a burrowed roach rush. So
Yeah.
I know for a fact right after that, MicroMachine coded a whole bunch of anti-burrowed roach code. So he definitely has that in his repertoire. Because that looks like that's what we're seeing of Caninana here, as we see roaches and burrow on the way.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those ones. If you need the sustained detection, I don't think you can scan your way out of it. You need like a Raven.
Well, I think that was actually what MicroMachine did. Is he started scanning a lot,
Yeah.
which is good versus some bots at the time. But you know, if you're good, as soon as you notice you're scanned, you unburrow, you get out of scan range, you burrow again. Although with that said, you know, you can get burrow and never be able to burrow a roach. Because burrow just in general is one of those things that's
for your
so
drones.
powerful for bots. Yeah, you just keep units alive all over the place by constantly burrowing them when they get low.
Yeah, for sure. I think we've seen that a number of times where someone's sole purpose of burrow is to just burrow their drones to keep them alive from run-bys and stuff like that. It tends to work.
Yeah, I think my Hellion Harass I do versus Eris usually does about 6,000 damage to drones and kills 0.
Yeah.
So it does one shot, they burrow, then it shoots another one, and that one burrows, and then
Sounds right. MicroMachine moving out here with a small group.
Yep.
And not going down the middle of the map. Looks like he's going for, well, now I don't know. Wants to go, is flinching.
he's getting distracted by his Zergling that's over
Yeah.
right there. That Zergling will go down. That should hopefully solidify his push again. There he goes. I think my MicroMachine has these little like off timings, like these times that Terrans never attack and he pushes out anyways. He actually got Scarlet in a lot of trouble by doing this once against PvP versus Scarlet. But Scarlet way behind ended up being a really awesome game.
And there we get the burrows behind. A bunch of roaches. No detection with this. Good scan, but again, given the spread here, it makes the scan prohibitive.
Yeah, it's plus you're outnumbered anyway, so it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
like you can
Yeah,
get free
like
kills.
I
It's like,
found
I
you.
can see
Okay,
the
I'll
unit I
finish
can't
you.
kill. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's that patented bunker mining out of MicroMachine. Great for the bots, terrible for the audio.
Indeed.
Oh, DominionDog's
Yeah. Rapid.
medevac made it to this game. Alright, another little push coming across the map, but the first one was held quite well by Caninana. Let's see if there's a scan or anything to help. It just seems like a small army though for this point in the game. I feel like Caninana probably has enough to crush it. And it's getting spread out as well. What's going on here? He's chasing something. Overseers. Yeah, Caninana gets these speed overseers and he tries to keep them across the map as best as he can without losing them. And it can create havoc for your bot's logic. He's always like, oh, there's a unit in my base, let me go kill it. But that never ends. There's always an overseer in your base. So when you want your bot to push across the map, these things can really pull them out of where they want to go.
Interesting scan there. An interesting tag on Caninana. He's been tagging units as they come out and he sees them, but there he tagged the sweep itself. Faster on his own side as the burrow roaches move back and bait a very small number of Marines onto the creep.
I do like that those tanks in the back are not on siege, so they are able to assist on the backup. Again, though, I think those overseers are messing with
Yeah,
the MicroMachine. Those Marines are just wiggling in the background instead of joining the fight. Here they finally come in just in the nick of time as they keep those 2 tanks alive, although I think there was a 3rd and 4th tank at one point, so...
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe not quite the nick of time.
Slightly late reinforcements, but not too bad. But we'll get chased off themselves as 2 very injured tanks try and make it back home. The side blockers may help here, but there's overseers on both sides.
Yeah, and medevacs, so almost irrelevant. Yeah, I mean, the attacks have gone really well. However, these Banshees are getting work done. I mean, this is the one nice thing. You're not killing drones, but you're preventing the whole mineral line from mining. That's a big deal.
Yeah, keeping them low, and he's making the move into battle cruisers, as our observer is pointing out. And this is often a thing with MicroMachine, is even if it's not getting massive damage done, MicroMachine's always transitioning to the next thing. Yeah. So if you're kind of on the back foot trying to get a hold of the Banshees, there's something else coming.
Yeah, and I mean, units lost might have been good in the direct engagement, but with the Banshees here, the full 3-base economy from MicroMachine on the other side, the drones being burrowed.
And that's not bad. I didn't realize 8 Queens had died.
Yeah, he did lose 3 of those tanks near the end of the fight. I remember that. So plenty of Queens remaining though, so I don't think he's going to be lacking in larva at all.
No shortage, but
I will say though that's a pretty late 5th out of Caninana, so he probably has been taking a lot of economic damage here. Actually, full 4-base at a MicroMachine, so 4-base on 4 is not good for a Zerg.
No. Although I don't know what's happening there. I guess they're just biding time before that finishes or something. But yeah, I think you're right in saying the overseers are just being very confusing to the Terran army. It's not grouping up properly, but the battle cruiser coming out will kind of hunt down some of this random stuff, but again, they can't really.
Yeah, I mean, overseers are faster than Vikings, so... And I almost want to like Yamato them just because they're so annoying, but then he'll just make more.
Yeah.
That was actually a style that was popular for just a little bit not too long ago, was the mass overseer style that I think Rogue was beating Clem with it. You just, late game, he's decided I'm just going to get like 25 overseers and just get, there'll just be changelings everywhere. And when there's changelings everywhere, there's some Nidus worms everywhere. And
yeah.
You know, you send in 3 changelings, Clem will kill 3 changelings, but if you send in 17, he's only going to kill 14 of them, and 3 of them will sneak in. Yeah,
for sure. And even just taking, the energy and effort to do that is a lot. And I mean, they don't cost anything.
Yep. They actually give you supply, they don't even cost supply.
Yeah.
It's a 0 supply spellcaster if you really think about it. Not a very good spellcaster, but...
Indeed. Yeah, these BCs not quite finding their path in life yet. But they may get debated over to a lower base or something.
Yeah. And we do see infestors on the other side, so there's the anti-BC I was dreaming of might be happening here. A lot of tanks, not a lot of support, but there's only a handful of roaches.
See, at least one swarm house being built.
Oh, actually nice. Nice scan there. See, that's a good time to scan, because that's when you get to pick up the free kills. I've never seen roaches attack 9 tanks and not really lose anything. You just found that one moment they're all on siege, went in, got a quick snipe, and then ran away.
There, the neural and dropping 3 turrets immediately.
I love it. He's beating me at the Raven play.
Oh, tank. Sieged up with his buddies. Gets a shot off. The beauty part too of stealing the Raven is he steals the detection that was stopping the infestor in the first place.
Yeah. So far, these tanks are not making neural parasite look very good.
No.
He gets out the parasite and then immediately gets shot down. One thing that's not in the API is we don't know who's casting the neural parasite, but there's a Fester nearby, it's probably a good chance it's him.
Swarm host attacking the tanks here.
That's actually a really good choice. It's so tank heavy. Zerglings are also a good choice. Okay, that's about 4 or 5 tanks that are going to go down. Almost for free. Yeah, nice little turnaround there by Caninana. His economy is actually looking pretty well here, and I do see there's a BC on the other side of the map as well. Unless that's still Banshee. That might have actually been teleported over there by Caninana, but he didn't have the firepower to finish it off.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, he does do that. Is he the one? I think we've seen at least one bot build kind of the spore. Oh, that may be it. So that's how it ended up there.
Yeah,
That's
there's there's the spore farm.
Teleport him right there, and then he made it out.
Big attack going in on the third base Caninana as we speak, as well as the fourth. So a little spread out attack by MicroMachine. It's kind of interesting how like bots don't really plan to spread their units out, but sometimes instead of having one big army against one big army, it's just like this wall of units across the map against another wall of units. Okay, let's see if we can catch it this time. Looks like he's just going to shoot it down with his Queens and Hydras. There's nothing to do with that BC. He's kind of smart like that. Like if he can use the BC, he'll use it. But if there's nothing nearby, he'll just kill it.
You get to see the race at the health versus the timer bar. And Nero. Millennium Vikings. Pretty big army supply lead, also upgrade lead on Caninana's side.
It's surprising. I think MicroMachine usually is good at upgrading, but
yeah,
all behind this.
I guess his spread out is more the thing because he's got some in bio, some in the Mac, and then he's using Mac Air bio.
And whenever one player looks like he's doing better in the fights, I look at the mini map and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, well, the other player looks really good now.
Yeah.
So now the fights are looking well for Caninana, but I'm looking at the mini map and MicroMachine's just taking over. Yeah. He's like got like more bases. He's got half a map and then some.
Yeah, worker count relatively even. The army supply is clawed back closer to even. It was pretty bad for MicroMachine at one point. But yeah, having some of these smaller groups, I think MicroMachine's losing the main fight, and then he's winning these like fringe fights with like 4 units in some cases. But the main mass with like the infestors, the swarm hosts, and everything is winning. Although this corner certainly went the other way.
Yeah, some of those fringe fights are where the burrow comes in really strong once again. I saw a Cyclone trying to deal with a handful of roaches, and the roaches are just like, oh, you locked onto me? Okay, I burrow. You locked on that one? Okay, I'll burrow that one too. Oh, he's landing a Viking. Yeah. He has code for every Terran unit. I love it. I haven't even landed my Vikings. I've never written that code. I'm a Terran bot. The Viking does survive though. He's going to go home for repairs. Another landed Viking with that bonus damage to mechanical, taking out a siege tank. So good. And I think that's a crash, or is that
crash? Yeah, it seems.
It did seem like it was really going well for Caninana, but
yeah,
there's still quite a few bases for MicroMachine.
Yeah, I was headed that way, but yeah, like a GG intentionally would be weird.
MicroMachine is known to run into some bugs when his APM gets way too high, and late game is when you get into the crazy 5-figure APM, sometimes 6-figure.
Yeah, I think you're right. So yeah, I think some sort of crash there, but that was the direction it looked like it was going. It looked like he was kind of closing in a circle on that, and
yeah, that was perfect. That's just the game I wanted to see there. I love the. I even got surprised there with all the. I knew about the BCs. I didn't know he was landing Vikings and casting auto turrets with his investors as well. I love it.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah, so I think if MicroMachine wants success in this, he's going to have to hit sooner before we get to some of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's moments that game. It was definitely right up until the end. It was hard to say who was winning. Actually, he was getting bigger economy at points. He was winning fights at points. So he just needs to put those things together at the same time, and then he'll start overwhelming. And that's one thing MicroMachine does well. If he has even a small lead, he can turn that into an overwhelming lead just by keeping the pressure on.
It's quite true indeed. Yeah, so let's hop into game number 2 and hopefully get another pretty good one like that.
Caninana. MicroMachine.
Yeah, MicroMachine, knowing that it had lost a past encounter, may switch up the build. This one too, the map change, both north positions, offers some maybe quicker pathways for like the Banshees or something like that, or even Reapers.
Yeah, and it makes the engagements more likely to be like straight on.
Yeah.
Rather than getting like spread out all over the place. It'll be interesting to see if these bots are capable of like sending squads down to the south and looking for those expansions. ProBots.
That's us.
Sponsored death.
Indeed.
All right, double gas opener before orbital.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting in itself.
Yeah, for sure. We could get a little bit more earlier aggression or something.
Yeah, I wonder what that's for. So it looks like it's going to be a fast factory, I guess. Okay. Early wall off. So hopefully this means more aggression. But sometimes MicroMachine switches to a build after he loses, thinking that, oh, I must have been cheese. Let me pick something safer.
Yeah.
And that's not how you lost, MicroMachine. I know that's usually how you lose. But you're not the dominant one anymore. Sometimes you can be out macroed.
Yeah, true that. Reaper will go across and maybe get some information that he's not being cheesed. And...
yeah, he did see the Zergling, so. Yes, Reaper. Scout Reaper.
Base is under attack.
Can't tag colons, so that's probably the time, 136 and minute 42.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That makes sense. Get there. Starport coming down. Still no sign of an expansion yet, though.
Okay. A one base push, perhaps? Or just, maybe just expand when he gets the 400 minerals. The 111, you can only spend all your money for so long. Reaper did get a little low there, but ends up surviving. Once again, seeing the Burrow and Roach Warren. Each tank will say goodbye to that Zergling. A little collateral damage on the destructible debris down there.
Yes, siege tank spotted 192 seconds in.
Oh, this is like a safe build. He's building like an in-base command center. Okay. Okay, so like it's intended to or be more of an anti-cheese build, but at the same point he will have a lot of early units, so he can, you know, he can turn that into a push and get back into the game that way. As well as the Sweeper being a little annoying. Oh, not anymore. Goodbye.
Burrow is complete on Caninana's side. Because we're getting a few riches out.
Yeah, and I think that Burrow means he will be mining less in a moment, because I think there's going to be a Cloak Banshee in this near future arriving to those mineral lines.
It does feel that way. It does.
It is kind of tough to like know when to burrow and when not to, though, because like, okay, if there's one Zergling in your mineral line, you don't want to burrow everything, but if there's like one liberator on your mineral line, you probably do want to burrow everything.
Yes.
So it's like, what's the break point of like when you try to keep mining and well keeping everything alive, and sometimes you can't do both.
Indeed. I mean, that's like the microcosm of like all this AI issue of like, it's the same with a worker rush. How many workers is a worker rush? How many pylons is something I should pull 8 workers for? How many, like, it's constantly that. And if somebody sits 5 feet away from my mineral line yelling, I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you, how much do you react to it? Banshee N may be able to stop the spore if he doesn't get too distracted.
Yeah, well, it looks like it's almost done, so I think
it's
Spore's going to finish.
yeah.
But he will stay out of Spore range at least. I do. Oh no, it's the Overseer to force him away. I thought he was like preemptively pulling away from the Spore, thinking he was about to finish. Not the best dead space back there. He's a little bit trapped at the moment. Does that... Okay, the spawning pool, no, it doesn't block the queens, so... Okay, he's gonna get home. Not bad, not bad. I mean, that's... For not losing the Banshee, just the lost mining time was made well worth it. And here's the push I was hoping for. Yeah. Obviously, MicroMachine is well behind economically, so he needs to get a little bit of damage done. Let's hope these Overseers do not distract him too much this game, and we can get back into this.
I think the changelings forced to siege in a weird spot.
Yeah, or the Overseer, which is not a choice, but yeah, you never know. You do often want to siege as soon as you catch the earliest glimpse of an enemy army, because by the time you see the entire army, it's probably too late to siege. But Overseer is not really an army. Oh, the one tank on zone will get picked off nice and quickly. I love how he jumped on it with the roaches, and now taking advantage of that massive regen when they're burrowed.
Those Marines unwittingly standing in the worst place ever.
Wow, nice hold by Caninana. So this is looking fantastic for Caninana this game. And no, we do have a fully saturated natural base at a MicroMachine now, so certainly not out of this yet. Even saving a couple workers with this fast mining technique.
Indeed. And there was a tiny... There's still, I think, the Banshee poking around different places. Yeah.
Not much I can do anymore, though. There's an Overseer tracking it and Spore in the mineral line.
Yeah, no way to really get in. The best case scenario is getting in one pot shot, and then they burrow.
Yeah. Oh, you probably don't have to get pot shot, you just have to get close enough.
Close
like
enough
right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're coding a bots, how would you react with burrowed drones versus, say, 2 adepts? Right? If you don't burrow them when they get in range, then you won't be able to burrow them in time before they die.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you burrow like 16 drones against 2 adepts, that doesn't seem right either. So it's a conundrum.
Yeah, especially with the adept mechanics, like you could continually shade in, never even put the adepts themselves in danger, and force the continuous burrow.
Yeah. I coded my bot to be scared of adept shades near the end of the shade timer.
Yeah. Expanding forward. Yeah, it feels like Caninana is pretty solid here. MicroMachine's kind of got to, make a transition out, and there is a fusion core coming down.
Yeah. I mean, I know Caninana is not aggressive per se, but he is being held back by this little bit of harass. He's not killing the harassed units.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, we have a 4th base finishing for MicroMachine, so... I thought MicroMachine had to get damage done with that first push, but maybe he can just like slowly get back into this economically. Especially if he can take a good engagement later on.
Yeah, and his building up like the Banshee, particularly a Banshee with speed sort of thing, is one of those things where like a little later there will be like a 3-second window where someone doesn't have detection, and then 8 Banshees just come in and decimate the army before you can do anything about it. But because of Caninana's mass overseer plan, there's just less opportunity for that sort of thing.
Yeah. But again, when you're doing a push, sometimes you need the detection. Sometimes the Banshees alone will just get the work done. They're pretty good versus queens if you don't have like 7 queens in the same position. I'm also not sure if that's hurting his injects at all. Having all those queens in the back of his main base for that long. I'm not sure how many queens he has, but he does seem to have a dedicated inject queens as well. That's a lot of spores, actually. Oh my goodness. 3 at each base. There's no window for Banshee harass against that.
We've seen a lot of Zerg do the almost have like the Queen's prime directive is the inject, and it will like abandon everything to go do it. And that's another one that you want to balance. Like, when is it more important to do one versus the other? Because if you abandon your job to do that too long, then you're sacrificing future army that could be helping. But if you have the Queen just kind of leave the front line to do it, then that's a problem as well.
Alright, nice little push here. This looks pretty good for MicroMachine here. He's got the detection, he's got the stim bio, and it's just roaches. Even getting the scan off, being able to pick off some of these broad roach.
Yeah, they ended up traveling a huge distance through that scan.
Yes, this was talking about, like a nice engagement and a nice like 5 base economy on the other side. I think this is anyone's game at this point. I don't even know who's ahead anymore.
Yeah,
I'm kind of wondering where Caninana's money is though, because like roaches are cheap. Why am I only seeing roaches? Okay, here is infestors now.
Yeah, we'll have to see who kind of the clumping benefits. Like, we're not getting the completely across the map line like we did in the last game, kind of as you were saying. There's kind of 2 groups, I guess you would say.
Yeah. The space in the north has been denied a couple of times by that game. Very common path for Banshees to go that way and catching that every once in a while. Here we are forcing a little bit of lost mining time. Just the sheer number of Banshees in this game has made things quite a bit different.
Yeah, they can be everywhere and require a lot more attention.
Looks like they're slowly dying to neural parasites, but I've even seen a couple survive neural parasites, so anti-air is not huge. 2 BCs joining the fights.
Yeah, I think if they can get some success, then there's something to do here. But yeah, if we ended up with DC's neural again and thrown away, then I think that becomes an existential problem for MicroMachine.
There's almost too many good targets for neuroparasite.
Yeah.
There's tanks, there's ravens, there's medevacs, there's NGs, there's BCs.
There's 1, there's 2.
Okay, does he have the spore forest yet? There's teleport.
Jump
Where to
it.
go? Oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Game pulled back in once more.
3 neurals. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, I think that's the TSN turning point. I think when you're investing into the battle cruisers, they at least initially have to do some damage if they get control a little later, but they can't come out and kind of wander around until they get killed.
Yeah. Still kind of like a mixed bag composition.
Yeah.
Of MicroMachine though. There's still a decent amount of bio and tanks and even Vikings.
Yeah, my concern with him is just the ability to group this up and make like a push.
Yeah. But I mean, he's pretty good even when he doesn't group them up, so he's just got to keep winning these engagements and not getting slaughtered by a neural. Which he did okay with last game until he didn't. But so he's getting
They are saying
Yamato's.
yeah.
Oh, he's actually Yamato
On
on
the
the
Overseer.
Overseers. I like it. It's actually not the worst value either. Yamato and Overseer. It's not the cheapest unit in the game.
Chasing away the investor before the Viking dies.
It is an Overseer, so that it's a 50-50 upgrade, so it's
Yeah,
150-50.
yeah, sounds right. Yeah, it's not cheap. There's a reason most people don't make 25 of them. things getting directly onto the tanks would be bad. Like, the tanks really need to be the thing keeping the investors away from doing that.
Yeah. I just think twice about walking across that bridge with the 4 siege tanks on the opposite side. I don't blame them. I think this is a nice thing for MicroMachines. Like, I got like a little 3 supply harass over here, and it's distracting you. It's throwing drones, and you have to spend way more than resupply over here to deal with it. I guess Caninana kind of lacks in the corruptor game. It's one thing he doesn't have any bots. That would be really nice versus these banshees that are just playing with the terrain. I have noticed that MicroMachine has never shot his own unit, so this is coded well against that.
Yeah,
like, my Bible will end up destroying its own neural unit sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's got to be an extra effort to not identify. Does it, given that like the bots often do like tagging stuff, does it change anything when it changes ownership?
Yeah, there's like a property on a unit that says like what alliance it belongs to, and that alliance will change. So if you haven't thought about neural parasites, your bot will just generically think it's an enemy unit. Now, if you A-move in the game, you don't shoot your own units that are knurled, but no one A-moves with the bot. So everything is focus fired, right? So you gotta have the right logic for that. Alright, so that's a key base going down for MicroMachine. He does have all the bases in the south. But this, yeah, that's gonna be trouble. MicroMachine is not maxed, Caninana is. Neither have much of any bank, so they're both spending every penny as they get it.
Caninana continuing with the upgrades here as well, getting some corruptors out onto the field. And it's just, I think a MicroMachine, despite having some localized successes, is just not having, it's just not hitting a composition that's making headway.
Yeah, I feel like his tanks are actually the key to victory. Yeah. They're the ones that are like popping the infestors, so as long as there's tanks nearby, the infestor play is not working out well, and MicroMachine's winning the fights. But anywhere there's not tanks, it's just going so good for Xena. And now another mineral lines getting disrupted. BCs are so expensive to go down. Oh, I take it back. There's the corruptors. So now there's those pesky banshees are really dealt with easily as well.
Yeah, they're now finding this lower base.
Yeah, and I think that is it. The once king of the bots is fallen too far behind the times now. New bots like Caninana coming up here and taking over.
Yeah,
still an impressive series though. Those are some really good games.
Yeah,
and
same thing here. Yeah, I'm curious. Is that yeah?
It could be a GG timing. I mean,
could be.
I hear GG there. I've never seen a bot recognize that well. They're losing even though they have bases and stuff.
Yeah, it could be some trigger based on mining or something. But yeah, that's a weird thing to code in. If you're going to make any update to your bot, why would you go to your way and improve its GG timing?
Yeah, and that's a lot of reasons why bots don't GG. You're spending effort on something that can only hurt you.
Yeah, exactly.
At best, it does nothing to improve your bot. But at worst, you end up GGing out of a game you could have won.
Yeah, sure. So, Caninana, will it advance there? MicroMachine is going to the scrap pile, but I'm sure we'll see it again with very little change in the next season. But yeah, see how it goes. Hopefully a few tweaks here and there. But yeah, that's it for our first half. I think we're going to kick to a 5-minute break and come back with match 3 and 4. I expect match 3, Zozo versus Xena, to be a lot shorter.
Yes.
Zozo's proclivities. So we'll see that when we come back. But then tier maybe long. Tier versus Deimos maybe longer. So hop into a break. See you guys in 5. Great time to hit like and subscribe and check out versus AI.net. Do we even have, is that a thing? Or am I just making that up? Check out versusai.net. Bye.
Forward, not just BS. All right, break time.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm glad you did not disappear. You just had the simple, let's go down to the lobby and get ourselves a snack. One of my favorite break time stream interludes. You're back here, ProBots second half. We're back after, I would say, astonishing 2 games. I didn't expect them to go the way that they did. I certainly didn't expect MicroMachine to crash. That was not part of the plan.
Yeah. At least it was a decently timed crash. It was a crash that looks like an appropriately timed GG.
Like it looked like a rage quit. Like a programmed rage quit. And I'm going to take that as a sign that we're getting better.
Yeah.
That we've come
it should, if it only insulted his opponent in chat first.
It would be
that's the key.
Human all too human. Yeah. And then whispered them. PMs. But yeah, we're back. I'm Drunken Endersword and Ketrock. We're here for your second half of ProBots. And we're not going to do the overview. You already know how we roll for these squares, so we won't do that. But you know, we are in the round of 8. And every bot here is at the last end of their line. So let us say a small robot prayer to robot Jesus and say goodbye to our 2 bots that didn't make it into the scrap pile. But here we are, second half. What are you guys expecting for this half?
This
generalize. You don't have to go over the matches.
Good things. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to. Both of them are going to be pretty different because one of Xena, I think the randomness is going to play into effect, and then Tier versus Deimos, it's a little harder. I don't think we know fully still what to expect out of Deimos. Tier, I expect pretty, solid macro, whatever. And then this first match 3, is going to be, it's just cheese defense. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, and often Xena is the cheeser, so these are 2 aggressive bots. They're gonna. We've seen a lot of early units, put it that way.
How have you guys felt like the meta has evolved? You guys, I was listening to you guys talk about MicroMachine essentially being a stalwart, like sort of this bastion in the meta. And so, where do you think we are in the meta now? I know I've asked this Enderstone this, but Ketrock, I actually would like to hear from you. Where do you think the meta has gone shifted to now in this stage?
I don't know. I feel like the generic macro play has kind of reached its peak, so I'm kind of like waiting to see what the next level will be, because I think a bot will probably take us there. There's been some interesting ideas I've seen thrown around Discord, but yeah, I don't know. The top bots love the macro, the lower divisions love their cheese. That's kind of like the staple of how it's always been, and it still is. But we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I think you have to hit and I think Eris did a really good job of macro. The macro has to come with the surviving to macro. So you've got to be cheese proof to get there. Is one big thing. But I think what we still haven't quite fully seen is almost which you would never see in the human world. We need to start seeing a 6-base timing. We need to start see a macro bot that gets huge in macros, but then has an extreme gimmick, a way to end the game. Very often the macro bots that get to that point, they just do things well and it eventually smothers the opponent, but nobody gets to a killer point. The equivalent of what you see in human games of you've gotten to the golden armada point and then they just kill.
We're talking about late game? Or are we talking about
a late game composition that is just the kill composition. We instead see kind of what we just saw a lot, and the Eris is very similar to what we just saw, where it's it gets to it could do everything, it has everything, it will eventually take over and eventually smother you, but it's not, there's not a point where it's I've got the composition I want, go, and then it just starts killing bases. that doesn't really happen. It tends to be like this trickle.
Would that mean the
Yeah.
bots need to be more composition aware in that way?
Maybe, and either that or just like know what your gimmick is, like know
Mm.
what your
Would BenBot be that then? Because BenBot BC is
MBot's probably
like,
the closest to that. Of like the trick there is, yeah, exactly, to play a macro game to get to a point where my BCs have gotten out of control, and then my BCs are the kill shot. Even then, when BenBot BC gets to that point, he doesn't go kill you. He only kills you eventually by accident because you pull him over to your base or something. But there's nobody. He's a good example though of hitting a win state.
Yeah.
His win state is like 13 BCs.
Yeah.
But for Eris or Caninana or whatever, what is your win state composition? And I think for a Zerg player in the human world for a long time, the win state was like 8 Broodlords with investors below with this. Like there was a composition that was like, once I'm here, I am now in sweeping the map mode. And I don't feel that the bots do that really.
I think they have to be more conscientious of the game state, their opponent's state, and comparison. Like they are able to read that state, they're able to make those decisions based on that. But I feel like that's not almost like an author's priority.
I feel like Tyr has done that a lot, both with
Tyr
Protoss and Terran.
Yeah.
Where he'll just sit back until he has his like 14 Thors, so then he'll go. He'll sit back until he has Mass Immortal, then go.
Like I do see the current Tier doing that with the Thors, and that's kind of like a reminiscent of, I would say, 2020 Tier, 2019 Tier, where it was kind of like, he was going to his competition. And then in the earlier times after he got his kit, I think he kind of changed direction, because before he was just trying to execute as many builds as possible and just rotating have so many builds to just keep you off guard. And now I think he's kind of settled into a few builds and they're a little bit more tightened up. So I guess that's what we'll see.
Yeah, I think the Thors is definitely a good example of.
Yeah, the Thors are a good example.
Once he goes with the Thors, he does go base to base, wiping at people.
Perfect. So now I'm going to remind you all before we get into our next games. You know it. We're going to do that call to action, that subscribe, them bells, all them likes, and all the good stuff. And then, of course, you can check out versusai.net and then aiarena.net. On there, I don't know if you guys seen, recently I released a little short on how to just make a little Zerg bot. And then obviously I got a template for you that you can just get your own bot started literally today. And then if all that's not enough, on Monday I have a workshop that I'll help you work through your very own bot, Zerg bot, even though on the panel it shows a Terran image. Ignore that, sign up anyways. I'm only going to accept 25 people just because I think it'd be too much. I think that's the maximum I can handle. So first come, first serve basis. Actually, if we can get production, if you can actually pull up the Versus AI Summit, I'm just going to do a quick overview of it. So people, if they just tuned in now, the second half, so they know what we got going on next week. Next week is Summit Week. And that's essentially, we're going to have just bots for the most of the week. So Thursday and Saturday is ProBots semifinals and grand finals. The semifinals at the same time right now, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, and then grand finals on the 14th, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. That's the grand finals of whoever wins from the semifinals, plus our humans versus ProBots. Look out for that information. If you want to play against the bots, that will also come up on this page for you to play. I hear Caninana. They haven't submitted them yet, but Caninana, I've been reached out. First time ever, I think, is available to play against. So that is going to be pretty sweet. And then my workshop, that's Monday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Sign up for it. Production, give me a click on that workshop so people know. I'm sure they can figure out what workshop looks like, but there you go. Yep, sign up for that. Making your own Zerg Rush bot. And then last but not least, on Friday, we got our panel. And actually, we have Kyotech is actually in the channel. And he's from the Rocket League crew. Production, give me my panel, please. Awesome. Training a gaming AI with without Google monies. So essentially, we're going to be talking to people across the AI multiverse. So we have Timo from former software engineer from DeepMind. He's going to be on there representing the StarCraft 2. But then on the other side of it, we have Peter Widden, who is made an AI that played Pokemon Red. Kyotech, the creator of Opti V2 from the Rocket League group. And he's not on there, but X-Pilot, who made Philip V2 for all these V2s. Philip V2 from Smash Brothers Melee. So we're going to get together. We're going to talk about essentially how can you navigate? Like, a lot of us are hobbyists. We don't have the Google monies. We don't have the data centers. We don't have the GPUs. But people have figured out ways to make RL bots, reinforced learning bots, on non-Google monies. So that's what we're going to have a discussion on some of the pitfalls. They'll talk about their bots, and we talk about some of the things that they worked on, some of the challenges they faced, and what we can all learn from each other. I think this is the first time ever. I'm gonna go out there that these different game bot authors have ever been together in one stream. I'm gonna say that. I don't know for sure, but I believe it is.
Nice.
So
it seems like a reasonable guess.
I think so too. I feel like it's a reasonable guess. Like I've never seen bot authors across games come together and talk about their different games. So I'm excited for that, to have that conversation. So, cool. All right, that's it for me. I think from that we can listen. Anything from you guys, thoughts, queries before I move you on to the next games?
I don't know. I think we're good, Santa.
All right. Very well. All right. I'll let the caster take it on.
Ready? Yeah. So we are going to hop into match number 3. Xena, maybe we can get Xena to play Rocket League and Pokemon as well. But Xena is our random bot. Just make it true. Yeah, random game. Like just enter your thing and then start typing in chat that you're throwing Pokeballs. Yeah, strategy is aggressive, although Xena has been switching to macro games now and then lately. Weakness, defense, and late game air. That will likely not be an issue here. The air part, at least.
Yeah.
And advanced resource allocation, make it easy to create robust and optimized builds. And there's definitely been new ones there. And build from scratch, not using any third-party network.
Framework,
yeah. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yes. I guess you still have to use a network to connect the thing.
That's true. They're also not using a third-party network.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no. Not using NordVPN. Zozo originally focused on cheese strategies in the early game. Originally, Zozo was a pro brush bot, but now has switched to a proxy zealot bot, and has been doing that for at least 2 seasons now. Weakness to turtle builds. Obviously, if you hold that original zealot rush, then you're usually pretty good. Special, nothing special, just does that one thing, but does it pretty well. And yeah, it was originally meant basically to be a sparring partner, to just do this to make sure, I guess, test the defenses of other bots, but turned out to be good. So it became a bot.
Yeah. It was annoyingly good, we'll say. A lot of people had to work on their worker defense code when Zozo came out. Yeah, this will be a good one. I'm surprised Xena said she's weak against early cheese, because Xena makes a lot of units herself. So this will be an interesting one. Xena also has a really nice micro. The way he fans out his units to get concaves and stuff is pretty cool. So I suspect if he ends up in like a Marine versus Zealot sort of thing, it's going to go really well for Xena. But yeah. Zozo's scary. I think that's where my money lies, is probably on Zozo taking this one down.
Yeah, I think that will be, curious to see if there's any variance based on the race, but yeah, you've kind of, given that it's random, you've got to have 3 ways to defend this, and yeah, we've seen Zozo be pretty successful so far, depending who you get,
That's
obviously.
true. Zozo's builds don't really care what race they're up against.
No,
You know?
it doesn't. It doesn't. There's not a lot of subtlety to it. It's just go attack with zealots. It'll be fine. So we're gonna hop into game 1 now. See what happens.
Xena. Zozo.
All right, here we go. So very easy to scout location if the drone goes out. And we do have a hatch first, so oh boy. This is one of those builds that you really need to defend by letting your hatch die, hoping it works as a distraction while you get up as many spines and lings and queens as you can in your main.
Yeah, definitely the spine seemed to be the way to go when we've seen this not work. But yeah, okay, there's the cancel. Is the response going to be correct?
Yeah. The only problem with canceling is that it's hard to spend that money.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can't divert it.
So you can throw down a bunch of spines as soon as the pool finishes, but usually by the time you can spend that money, it's almost better just to have the hatchery just as nothing else but a distraction, you know?
Yeah, either it distracts when they kill it, or maybe it's a few extra larvae once it's done.
You can even bring all your lings down to attack as the hatchery dies, and then you do like a broodling zergling attack. Okay, triple spine crawler.
Yeah.
Not in the mineral line, so they need to finish.
They're pretty forward. Two zealots coming in. It's pretty rough.
Is there any queens or lings?
Them
they're
bypassing it is actually good.
Yeah. I mean, the bypass will work. You will be able to get in here with some workers, but the follow-up is going to be weak with that many.
Yeah, if it blocks
spines.
the newcomers, then it's down to can one queen clean up? Well, especially if they just leave. Now it's pretty good.
Okay, back to mining again.
Yeah.
Roachhorn on the way, queen on the way. Now these spines are like not invulnerable. You go send 9 zealots at them, they're gonna cut through them like butter. So there needs to be zerglings and hopefully queens as well. Or even roaches, because the roachhorn finished. There's a couple lings. A ling speed I do not like in this position.
Yeah, no, that doesn't work for you. It has to be the gas into the roaches, because you kind of got to get to now like a 9 roach position, something like that, to start even getting close to killing the zealots fast enough.
Yeah, it's 3 larvae. What's it waiting for? What's the money
Yeah,
going to
not
spend
sure
on
why
Xena?
he's...
If more lings. So the roachhorn is just for show, I guess. Okay, there's a handful of these, but that's too many.
All right.
Okay. Oh.
Okay. Hesitation here.
Yeah,
is
hesitation is good. There's a bit of a choke point here as well. Oh, more hesitation on Zozo. Literally an A move, I think, would have walked through all that. There wasn't that many lings. Yeah, it's just kind of like the breakpoints of when to attack and when to retreat. And you can't have those 2 barriers be close to each other, otherwise they'll just hesitate.
Yeah, and there are now some roaches coming in to join, but I think we've now bought enough time, and then it's still not able to make this decision. Of course, he can't see up, so
yeah. Now the decision is bad to attack. You just don't have enough. I don't think there's not really a good answer anymore. Not attacking is bad. Attacking is bad. Xena is
is doing all that. Yeah.
Chatting with himself.
You
looks like.
You look busy. Je suis français.
I'll have to go back and re-roll that one day.
couple low. But
Yeah, I got a queen or something, but yeah. Now there's roaches out, which are absolute death to zealots.
not totally sure too what's up with the attacking with 4 supply, attacking with 5 supply. There's clearly like 20 something supply.
I missed that
Whether they're grouped in some way, transitioning. I don't think. Yeah. Xena I think has decided like, okay, this is held, so switching.
It's funny. I think like on any of those initial attacks, A move would work.
Yeah.
First 2 zealots A moving would have killed all the spines.
Yeah.
Next group of zealots who A moved would have walked through all the zerglings and spines. So you made the right choices like when to attack. You just needed to be attacked to like not be microed, basically.
Yeah.
Don't be a bot right now. Be a Bronze League player.
Yeah. Yeah, that's we talked about this last week with me and Ban Yoshi, that like occasionally I think the bot would benefit from, if you make a decision, there has to be like a moratorium on you reevaluating that decision. Like you're not allowed to reevaluate this choice for 5 seconds.
Yeah, or at least have the threshold to retreat be very different from the threshold to attack.
Yeah.
Like I want to be 2 supply ahead to start my attack.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to retreat unless I'm like 20 supply behind. Like something,
Yeah.
you don't want it to be like, if I'm 2 supply ahead, I attack. If I'm 1 supply ahead, then I retreat. Because then you're just going to be constantly going like back and forth, back and forth. As soon as you see a new zergling, you change your mind. Yeah, I learned that pretty easy. You need 2 thresholds, like an on and an off switch. You can't use the same threshold for both. Yeah, so I think he's just going to walk across the map and win. And that is good because Zozo does have a transition, like a 0 unit expand. So I like that sort of idea, like when you're completely lost, just do something crazy. Like why not just actually go 3 Nexus? And like, yeah, you're dead if you attack, so maybe that doesn't attack. Then maybe you get back into the game because you went so greedy.
Yeah, I agree
But
there.
nice out of Xena to push the advantage, realizing he needs to go for the win, especially when you kill all the forward production. People are so vulnerable when they lose their proxies, whether their barracks floating away or gateways dying. Those are so good against the Zerglings. We need to do more like worker micro on defense. You realize in certain games that like you see like 15 Zerglings run into a base and they're gonna get slaughtered and the probes just kill them all instantly because of the way bots can micro with mineral walking.
Yeah, definitely there's a lot more resilience there. You would expect. Okay, playing the intro. Yeah, so there we go as 1 race, but then of course random bot. So we'll see, does game number 2 have the same sort of defenses? If we get a different race here. Also, I don't know if anything's changed, but I don't know that we've seen Zozo really act like that before with the hesitance. Like the retreating. I mean, it's a weird situation. You get the 3 spawns right at the top of the ramp, so I think it was like them coming up the ramp and then being shocked to see a huge thing there. But yeah, I don't think we've quite seen that. And 2, like once he got because this could have changed it too. While killing the spines at the beginning before they were built would have been game winning right there. Also got 2 zealots in that were just on their own for a long time, and they voluntarily left.
Yeah,
they didn't have to.
Like if you're gonna walk by the spines, at least stay there and disrupt the mining, you know?
Yeah,
because there was no mining going on. It was only the zealots leaving that caused it.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things there that could have been different. But yeah, let's hop into game number 2. See if we get the same race, different. Where are we gonna go with this?
Xena. Zozo.
All right, it's looking quite similar. I did see the strategy of Ling Flood, which makes me think you want an early hatch. So I think it's going to be a hatch first once again against Zozo Cheese. Interestingly, this time going into the main base to build it.
Yeah, we've seen him get more and more aggressive with this, but this alone could do it. Like now, you're not going to have that ramp problem.
I think that's the perfectly placed pylon.
Yeah.
I think if he placed it anywhere else, he wouldn't be able to build the flower. But I think he has just enough room around the creep. Yeah, and he doesn't hit the edge of the base either. Nice.
And I think due to the proximity, I don't think he's going to have any zealots be idle. Like they're just going to attack right away. Conversely, you could have 3 spines built right in its space, but I don't think you have time.
Yeah, and you could ignore these probes, but he's pulling off so many workers, so that's actually going to cut into his mineral count. Yeah. Now he does have extra minerals to spare, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do the triple spine this time. Yeah, these drones are wasting so much time.
Yeah, Pool is going to finish in a second. We'll also see. Yeah, I was worried about that. Is
defend the ramp, because that's where they're coming from.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Did it acknowledge the difference? The short answer is no. It does not acknowledge that difference.
Getting harassed a bit here now.
Yeah, that's a bit of a change there too.
Oh, there's so much mining disruption. I do like that. Oh, I was about to say I do like that. There's no Roach Warren this time.
Yeah. Okay,
I thought he was about to build it, but he didn't. Okay, that's good.
First 2 zealots in the back there, attacking the proxy with 0 supply. Okay, 1 is in range. Does this provoke a response?
Actually, this is looking pretty good for Xena, I gotta say.
Yeah.
I do like that the Zerglings are being hesitant as well.
Yeah, we'll see. Is there a go command here? Okay. Going with 5, 6.
It's going into the spine, so that's what.
But there's the backup.
Retreats.
Yeah. Can't retreat.
And he's fighting, he's defending with his drones. This is perfect.
Yeah.
Very well done out of Xena here. Another retreats. Yeah. If he builds up once more, he probably has one more chance. He needs to build up. He can't be fighting with just 3 zealots. Oof. I would have thought PVZ would be the matchup Zozo would be hoping for, you know? There's no fast wall off or anything you can do.
See, and why attack now?
Now he's not being hesitant.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah,
I'm not sure what
with
the logic
7,
is.
but yes, with 2. Yeah.
Well, he knows what to work on for next season. He'll probably be like, nope. Next season is proxy stalkers.
Yeah, see, this is what I was saying. Attacking with 4 supply, attacking with 2 supply, attacking with 2 supply. Yeah. So
I guess technically the only units attacking are the Zerglings, so Orlings are 2 supply. I don't know.
He also says the main, your own.
That must be another threshold. That's why he's spamming. I think he attacks and decides retreat and attacks and decides retreat like every single frame. He's switching between decisions. Okay, there's a build up, and like drones are being built, so maybe.
Gonna go, but yeah, there's too much there.
Especially
they also won't prioritize the spine, so they're gonna chase the queens down.
And we know Xena has logic to pull workers when things are getting dicey as well, so. Okay, Xena, you're making me look bad. That would have been a good time to pull the workers down, right? I mean, Xena's droning. This is if there's any chance, like, okay, these retreats are still killing Zozo, but okay, a couple of roaches in the way, that'll help. Like, let me just take a 3rd base while I'm got 3 big gateways in my main. Run away.
Yeah, yeah.
Run
So
away.
the 2 supply must be that 1 roach.
That's not how you spell, I'll say.
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking that is that the is that just the feminine version though? Just be française with the E. I don't know.
It's a bigendered word.
I don't know. Most things in French are, and when it's just yeah,
I thought everything had a gender, but
yeah.
it was always one. I didn't know you could do 2 versions of it.
Well, like people, it's like if you're saying I am French, it's like I am Latina versus I am Latino.
Mm.
So I think it might be like that.
But that's like an actual gender, right?
But then
Like something like a
that should be-
chair has.
Yeah, yeah. No, I
is
know. But if
female,
you're saying,
you know,
if,
instead
but
of
if you're
male.
saying I am French, then you would use your own gender. It's not the word that's gendered; it's literally your gender, and Xena is female.
Interesting. Okay.
So I think but then the Francais should be capitalized. So I don't know.
All right, Xena knows what to work on next season.
Yeah,
Zozo's got to work on
exactly.
his when to attack, when to retreat, and Xena needs to work on his.
Conjugation.
There you go. All right, so well done to Xena. We did get to see not so random of the randomness, but very well executed P's defense. Wonder if that was specially adapted to given this week's matchup, or are they just something built into the bots at all times? Feels like it's always been there. That's
Yeah.
my guess.
It seems so. The cleanup. Finally.
The proxy is the final structures.
Yeah. Yeah, that should have been dead a few times, but there we go.
GG.
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, I kind of knew that was going to happen. Like they're gearing up for these spines, but I know it's going to ignore where the actual location is. And that may have been better off. I think had the spines been right in his face and he like couldn't retreat, maybe that actually would have been worse.
Yeah.
But
I will say though, I think Xena would have held even if there weren't the retreat issues that game. It wasn't like game 1 where Zozo threw. I think that game Xena had the capability of defending.
Yeah, it was cleaner. I think. Yeah, because the timing lined up a little different. That it felt like the spines were almost done when the zealots came out.
Yeah.
Whereas like they were half done when the zealots walked by the first time. Oh, was that? Yeah, it's 2-0.
2-0. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
We're on to the next match.
Yeah. Yeah, we got the wrong score here.
Zozo
but yeah.
Cheesy's cheesing the
Yeah, there we go.
the brackets. There we go.
Okay. On to our last match of the evening, which is going to be Tier T versus Deimos.
This will be a good one.
Yeah.
Deimos is one of those top of the ladder bots, and Tyr is probably one of the best bots at defeating the top of the ladder bots. So.
Yeah, sure.
With EVP, I'm not sure. I mean, we know Tyr's good with ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be interesting. I want to see what he pulls off here. I've only seen Tyr do well in that matchup from the other side. I haven't seen him be on the Terran side before.
Yeah, so Tyr, now our Terran version, but has been around since almost the start of the competition. Years ago with the Protoss originally. I think Tyr's always had all 3 somewhere on the ladder, but now submitting the Terran. Tyr is weak to some early types of aggression. Late game, it can play reasonably well. I think that's an understatement, but doesn't always adapt to the opponent well enough. That's maybe a little bit true. It chooses like a pretty strongly stated strategy as it goes, like Mass Thor or something, but usually if it can get to its strategy, it works. A lot of different builds here, 100,000 lines of code.
176 builds.
Yeah, kind of nuts. Tyr's been around for 6+ years. Deimos, made by Team Eris. So Eris, one of our most prolific champions. But this is the Protoss bot. And maybe you can elaborate on this. We talked, but game step hard coded to 2 basically means it makes the decision like every 2 frames instead of every 1.
Yeah. So that's still like 12 decisions a second, which is decent.
Yeah, exactly. But you couldn't Mario speed run at that rate. Majority of macro and combat maneuvers in Deimos have been carefully orchestrated using reusable behaviors directly from the Ares SC2 framework. And yeah, two of them. Yeah, so they're a team here. Raspberry and I Don't Code This Game played a major role in developing the core code in the Ares 2 framework. Development started only 5 months ago. Yeah.
So I'm gonna guess I Don't Code This Game isn't active anymore, but he was a major part of helping build Ares and the framework behind it. So he doesn't get credit for Deimos, I guess, because he probably wasn't around for that time. But Deimos runs on the framework that was built by Paul. So yeah,
makes sense. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not totally sure what to expect in terms of actual strategies that each one's gonna roll out. Whether Deimos is going to go, for some sort of timing sort of thing. Like, again, Ares didn't really work that way. But yeah, see what is up here. And then Tier will try and get to something, do something. Tier has been known to snipe, but I don't know if that's in the cards today.
Yeah, and if it is in the cards... Oh, no, this is an elimination match. I was about to say he might save it for the final, but...
Yeah.
Deimos is kind of... He might consider Deimos like the finals. He might consider him the final boss. So, yeah, he might have some snipes ready for us here.
Indeed. So let's hop in and find out.
Tier. Deimos.
Okay, so a little hesitation on the probe there. I thought he was being stuck for some reason, but it's slightly light gas here, so he's not doing anything too aggressive. I think we'll see an early expand at some point as he's banging up those minerals and not the gas. Team Ares doing their patented I will check everything on my side of the map because I don't want to die to stuff.
Yeah, makes sense.
Really good in this meta. I guess if you're going to do that much roaming around with the worker, you probably just want a worker scout, and then that usually gives you enough information that you're getting.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, if there's nothing over there, it must be over here somewhere.
Especially as bots can like perfectly count how many minerals have been mined, how much gas have been mined, how many workers there are. You can figure out quickly if what's missing. Alright, so there's that command center we expected, and a tech lab on the barracks is interesting. So we're going to see some early concussive marauders or something. I don't know what that'll be for. Concussive shell marauders is kind of like underrated as an early game unit.
Yeah,
Great versus adepts, stalkers, it's great versus reapers, you know. They're just not strong on the follow-up, which is why no one builds them, but
yeah,
it's almost like a guaranteed kill. Like whatever the opponent builds first, you get to kill it because you have Marauder with concussive shell.
Yeah, quite true. Like, yeah, it tends to be used more if you're like only in like your cheesing situations.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, when you're going fully offensive, but not to like just catch on your side.
Like in TVT, for instance, people love to open Reapers into Hellions into Cyclone. It's like, well, what counters Reapers?
Yeah.
Marauders. What counters Hellions? Marauders. What counters Cyclones? Marauders. It's like, as long as you can't be kited, and you can't with that concussive.
Yeah.
But then when you're facing like Marine tank afterwards, the Marauders are completely worthless. That's why I build some. Anywho, a couple of depths here, making a full use of their cooldown. There's never a point in time where they are holding those shades, which is an interesting way to use them. It is kind of nice to, like, no matter what, always have a shade out.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense, I guess. Like, I guess the only thing is if you get caught when you want it to move it or something, but
Yeah.
it doesn't. Yeah, it seems like it's more often going to be beneficial than not.
Yeah, I would agree with that. All right, it's Robo on the production tab and a Phoenix. Okay, so a little bit of everything.
Maybe we get to see Mass Phoenix play. Probably not. But
Yeah, I mean, from what I
maybe.
did see of Deimos a long time ago, it looked a lot like -0 back in the day. So like constant pressure with Adepts, constant pressure with Phoenix, and just get so far ahead, and then the Tempest come, and you can't be behind versus Tempest. So we could see that here again. Because things like Blink Stalkers and Adepts and Phoenix are really, really hard to kill if they're micro dwell. This one just acting as a scout. Oh, some SCVs. We've seen this before from Tyr. He needs to work on that bug. Probably a bug in the speed mining or something, but the SCVs just sometimes end up being idle for some odd reason. They will end up fixing themselves eventually, though. Marauder count actually up to 7 now. And now with the second Phoenix, he'll try to kill one Marauder, which I'm not sure is possible, even if the Cyclones didn't come to protect. Don't think you can kill a Marauder that quickly enough with a single Phoenix lift.
no, yeah, probably not. They're too bulky. Look at them. They're just jacked.
Do you even lift?
Well, the Phoenix does, but it's more of a do you even shoot, bro? Light laser work. Yeah, so both of them I mean, this is a pretty interesting early comp.
Oh, maybe this is a snipe out of here. Like,
Yeah,
Mass Marauder
yeah.
seems ridiculous, but
Yeah.
if you're going against someone who has only Stalkers and Phoenix, like, this seems perfect.
Yeah, there's going to be an Immortal out, but just one.
So, not like a cheese snipe, but more like a composition snipe. It's
Yeah.
like, I'm just going to attack straight into the thing I know counters what you like to build. Nice micro on the Phoenix, though. It does keep the Cyclones distracted.
Ooh, over stem?
Maybe. And a lot of Marauders. And the
Yeah.
Immortals are here as well.
Yeah. It felt like he stemmed 4 times or something.
Did he?
'Cause
Okay.
they just dropped, I think before even getting touched, they were in the orange, but I don't know. I saw that right, but
Yeah. It feels like that's too much of a rookie mistake for a coder.
yeah, yeah,
Because you know when you have the stim buff active, so why would you stim when
Yeah.
you have the stim buff?
yeah.
I could see
it's
stimming back
very
to back to
uniformly.
back, but not spamming it. I do love when human players do that accidentally, though. We haven't seen that in pro matches in a long time. But the other thing I loved was when, the opponent would accidentally blow up all their Bailings manually.
Yeah,
It's like, I got
That
30
was always
Bailings, and then
fun.
all of a sudden, pop, I just killed them all because I pressed the wrong button.
I always like that in actual pro tournament games or something, and then someone would just GG out, and the opponent didn't even know
No idea why,
'cause-
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes that still happens when, your command center is 90% done, and then you accidentally
Yeah,
cancel it.
Cancel. yeah. Done. Bye.
I think even Cyril, if I recall correctly, did that once. He canceled a hatchery and then just left the game, and the opponent had no idea.
Yeah.
It's early Cyril, but
I mean, I know Idra's done that in Third War. There's a good old clip of him.
well, Idra's the man who never learns his lesson.
Yeah.
He's quit so many games that he's won. It's ridiculous, including 2 infamous ones against Huck in MMA. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the MMA one was.
Although that one wasn't as ridiculous as
Yeah.
Cass made out to be. I don't think Idra was actually clearly winning in that spot. But he certainly shouldn't have GG'd.
Yeah, this is.
Yeah, this is not looking good for it. He does have the high ground, which is really nice for Cyclones, but as soon as those Stalkers are able to poke up, it's just too many numbers, right? Well, he's actually getting
getting
distracted by the
blocked
barracks.
there.
Yeah. Look, he just put like 1,500 damage into a barracks that didn't go into Marauders and Cyclones. But there is still 3 Immortals.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
The nice thing about this choke point is that he's having difficulty pulling back the unit that's locked onto.
Yeah.
Cyclones are usually trash in the bot meta because like as soon as you lock onto a unit, it just instantly blinks away or walks away. But on that choke points, he wasn't able to do so. I think Tyr might survive.
He might
really low though.
Kind of hold it, but he lost a whole bunch of
he lost all
SCVs
his
there.
SCVs,
There's somehow, yeah. Those the adept behind. There's just a random unit behind the mineral line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically if he does.
Yeah.
Like even if that army blows up right now, nuke just drops on there. That's
Yeah.
a 4 base Protoss against a no SCV Terran.
90 workers to 21.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of feels like, especially early there, that first engagement at the third base, just felt like this is the exact composition to beat this, and then it lost. Like, it lost in what felt like weirdly quick.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
We may get a repeat next game. Look at try to keep a closer eye on it, but yeah, that was a little odd. It did seem like the Mass Marauders was the way to go. But I mean, Deimos did have a good sized army. It was Stalkers,
Yeah,
but
it was
still
good.
Stalkers with Micro, with Blink,
Yeah,
and
maybe we
Immortals.
could see this.
One Immortal
this,
popped in.
Yeah, I don't think they'll go far enough. Yeah.
We got
Yeah,
Sin
we'll
March.
see you next game.
It's the other thing, like if your army is set up defending the third, and then the Marauders show up in a line, like walking one at a time, that can be a big difference.
Yeah, which I think was the case, but yeah, we'll see. So if that was kind of an attempted snipe, unfortunately did not work for Tyr there, and Deimos had what it took to just kind of plug on and win.
Yeah,
And-
next one's going to be
yeah.
on Golden Aura, which is another very standard-ish map.
Mhm.
Nothing really special about that one.
Yeah, it should be pretty normal. I kind of want to see more of the Phoenix play. I liked at least seeing some of that to pick up workers and stuff, and because I think you're right. I think there's potential there. So
Mhm.
maybe see some more of that. Let's hop into game number 2 for what could be the last match of the night.
Tyr. Deimos.
Team Tier is IPD now. Infinite
Yeah.
Mobility Drive, is that what it says?
Yes, yeah, from Hitchhiker's Guide.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't see much with the Phoenix last game, but it was, even in that tiny interaction, it did look good.
Yeah.
One Phoenix scouted around. When the second Phoenix arrived, it picked up a Marauder, tried to kill it. As soon as the Cyclones arrived, it canceled the pickup and flew away. I mean, that seems like perfect micro to me so far. So, yeah. It'll be interesting if we see a bot get good at the pickup harass. Especially with workers, because Phoenix kill workers so fast, you can like just walk over a mineral line, instantly kill everything. As long as you get those lifts going. And the typing sound means I need to keep talking here, so.
Maybe a tiny bit. Yeah,
Cheers. Workers do pass in the night.
indeed.
Cybercore going up, and the command center out of tier. So very similar to last game. It is a quicker expansion
Yeah.
out of tier. What advantage he does have here.
Yeah, if he did code that in particularly for this matchup, if it didn't work, he probably said, don't repeat it. So we're maybe going to get something else.
Well, thus far it's identical to last game. There's the tech lab for the barracks as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, last game we went for this fast expand as well. Yeah, so it could all just be about the angle of attack too. Like, again, we didn't catch that engagement, but it feels like his idea should have potential to work. Marauder Cyclone versus Mass
Yeah.
Stalker with one Immortal.
Yeah, it feels like the right matchup. Just, yeah, it didn't. So and like you said, it's often the way you engage. Like, you can't them in single file and expect it to work. They were overstimming, yeah. So yeah,
okay.
I kind of want to see it because when it came in, it started full, and then they just all uniformly went to like orange, and it that didn't seem possible. So yeah, I don't know.
So stim is 20 hit points, I believe, on Marauders. So I think they have like 120 hit points. So they lose about a sixth of their health. So if they hit like 3 times, they'll lose half their health.
Yeah, and I think that may be exactly what it was.
It's one SCV that can drop here from this Adept. You will be able to... Oh yeah, he got the kill. Nice. Oh, and the Marauder's not actually getting on him. Because there's 2 Adepts. Okay, this is actually a lot of damage being done by... He closed his door, which trapped the second Marauder on the high ground, and this high ground Marauder still got the kill anyways. I was so lucky. But that's a good thing. I think Tier need a little bit of luck there, because that was a pretty rough start so far. 1 Adept for 5 SCVs. Pretty good. I mean, 1 Adept for 2 SCVs is pretty good, so 1 for 5, not bad at all.
Yeah, and even beyond the kills, like 34 workers to 19.
Yeah.
Is already like, even if you gave him back the 5, that's a weird discrepancy.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, Terran falls 2 workers behind every time they upgrade an orbital. Yeah. Every chrono boost puts Protoss half a worker ahead. But even still. And then there's that idle worker bug again, so it's kind of like he lost a 6th SCV.
Cyclones pop out. Time to shoot the Phoenix and then lose interest very quickly.
It is kind of hard to know what's a hallucination and what's not when you're a bot author. Because if you don't really get any information on what damage is being done, you'd have to just like, okay, did my building take, did my unit take damage? What units are nearby? Okay, maybe it could have been this Phoenix, so that's probably a real Phoenix. I just assume they're all hallucinations until I get a detection.
Yeah. There's almost, if you don't have anything in the air, there's no difference between a hallucination and a real single Phoenix. It's only once there's 2 that there's any threat.
And they're doing a great job, like going back to that dead zone, coming in to pick up SCVs when they can.
Yeah.
Yeah, this game is just going so well for Deimos, so this push is going to have to work miracles compared to the previous game.
Yeah.
There is more Cyclones this time. I think last time, what was it, like 8 Marauders and 2 Cyclones? Yeah.
So maybe this is better. Well, that's not going to help.
Oh, that's why they weren't there in the attack last time. They were going home to deal with Phoenix.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now they're coming.
But the Marauders are going to fight on their own first. Oh my goodness. They didn't overstim.
This time
they didn't stim at all.
They don't have stim. Yeah.
Like, I only see their health go down when they're getting shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just too much disruption to the economy, I suppose. Yeah. As soon as you try to kite back with your lock on, you immediately lose the lock because you don't have the vision. There is no blink, so at least like these lock-ons are doing some damage.
Yeah.
Instead of 0. But
now that they're going to come in, there's no ramp here, so
he's hoping for the defense like against Zozo, where Zozo just decides to run away.
Yeah.
That's all I can over here. Like, please just choose not to attack him. And that poor barracks does do wonders though. So much free damage through all that tanking. And I think that is going to be it for tier.
Does seem so.
Nice idea. I like the composition choice. Just
yeah,
Phoenix probably wasn't expecting that. Might be a new feature out of Deimos, and just some worker bugs and stimming bugs and army getting separated. bunch of minor things when you put them all together, just meant for a really bad fight.
Quite true. So yeah, good job to Deimos.
That's that. We got our final four, boys.
Do indeed.
Yeah.
Do indeed. Yeah.
So Deimos, what is it? Sharkbot, Zozo. No, Zozo lost.
Xena.
Xena and
Caninana.
Huh. That's a nice mix, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's definitely not what I would have picked out of the gate, for what we end up with here. But one, I would have had you in it. But yeah, it's kind of nice to see the mix. Deimos, I wasn't sure. We know that obviously the author's strong and everything, but I wasn't sure how the bot would do. Yeah, so pretty good.
What an ending. What an ending. You know what, though? Deimos showing that just because he's not Eris doesn't mean he's not lethal.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
good games here.
He's a new bot, so he has some vulnerabilities, but overall, on average, like, he's surpassed Eris on the ladder. So, like, Eris is number 2 now, Deimos is number 1.
I think it's interesting because we call him a new bot, but he's like, it's like the folding of all the things that Rasper has learned from Eris and from Phobos and whatnot, right? And so he may not have some of that coding cruft in him.
Yeah. I don't remember what happened, but I think the very first game it played in this season of ProBots,
it got rocked.
It got rocked by something really, really amateurish.
So
it showed it wasn't as like fully fledged out as Eris is.
It may not be as robust. So I would say it's not as robust as Eris, because Eris is filled with all of Rasper's and Paul's knowledge. But I would say that there's probably a lot of mistakes that might be in Eris that probably don't make it into Deimos, I would guess. And maybe the weaknesses come from maybe lack of Protoss knowledge, or because this is their first Protoss bot. And if I remember reading correctly, there's some things they wanted to test out in the Eris framework, and they needed a bot to basically deploy to make sure they get all the, cover all the bases for the framework. So as someone who uses the framework personally, I appreciate the, because I remember I asked Rasper about using disruptors, and he's like, actually, I don't know anything about disruptors. So I'm like, okay. So
there's 2 test bots, and they're in the final 4.
I mean, good, right?
Yeah.
I mean, one of the biggest worries about ProBots going so long was always that we'd get too stale, that you'd have too many of the same bots staying up at the top, and we'd just have this year after year, especially in the twilight of the MicroMachine era. I was most worried about that. I think that was probably my number one concern, was that we were just going to get, way too stale with just a certain type, a few bots just sitting at the top and never moving. So we had the MicroMachine era, and even the tier era was a little frightening for that too. So
I think, at the very beginning, people were even questioning, why are you doing best of 3s? They're bots.
That was the first question we got. That was the number one first question we got. I was like, why are you doing best of 3s? It's going to be the same thing.
Yeah.
I think our very first best of 7 went to game 7. If I remember correctly.
So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, even then, I actually almost reversed the decision, because I got that very same question. I was like, why are you doing best of 3s? It doesn't make sense. They have to do the same build. And I think they did, because we had DimitroBot just did freaking Zealot Rush for the
rushes,
all the way to the finals. So oh wait, no, until the finals.
He was season 2. Then he did worker rushes until
it's
almost the exact same thing as Zozo.
Yeah,
worker rushes until it became a Zealot Rush in the playoffs.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm glad we've evolved this way. I'm glad that the scene has gone this way, and I'm very proud of what we built. And I think that ProBots has become an incredibly, and not just obviously someone who's the producer, I am really proud of how it all looks, and it's super fun. So hopefully you all are having a good time watching, and thank you so much for the bot authors. Let's see the brackets. Let's see what our final 4 looks like. Final 4, Sharkbot, Caninana.
We're running out of rectangles.
We are running out of rectangles. There's only 3 more.
Yeah.
So these next ones will be best of 5, Xena and Deimos. This is a strange top 4. I feel like I've never seen this combination of top 4s.
I love this top 4. It's like Sharkbot's like the most robust bot. Caninana is like the best macro, like most macro focused bot. Xena is like this like crazy bot, and Deimos is like the number 1 bot. So like, we got everyone's like the best at something or the best. Period.
Yeah. This is a very fresh lineup. This is a fresh lineup we don't see very often. So I feel like this looks different than I think any top 4 this year, and maybe even than the whole series in many ways of ProBots. I feel like this is a very where are the tiers and I guess Deimos kind of represents old guard in many ways, but a little fresh. And we have Protosses up here. This is probably the most surprising part. We have Protosses in the top.
We don't have any dedicated Terrans. Xena can play as Terran, but is random. It's probably the first time in a long time no Terran is in the top 4.
Yeah, for a long time it was like
very long time.
MicroMachine, BenBot, like these are all like standard Final 4 type of bots.
This is a very
DominionDog is up there a lot. Yeah, tier.
I want to say though, one thing I'm very happy is that we got Sharkbot playing macro. I think it's something that can be overlooked. You guys brought it up earlier, and I wanted to comment on it. Is that Sharkbot, when he plays macro properly, it can be such a treat to watch. I love watching Sharkbot when he plays like his full macro. Sometimes it can be a little difficult to wait for him to get there because he's just trying all sorts of cheesy stuff, and sometimes he gets bopped for it. But I look forward to a really solid Sharkbot macro game. So
yeah, and he doesn't have to worry about being cheesed by Caninana. So if he wants to go macro, he can.
Yeah,
I don't know if he'll want to against Caninana because Caninana is a monster in the late games. But I mean, both those bots slaughter me in long games. So it'll be interesting if they do try against each other.
What I am interested in is I thought we were going to see some motherships. We didn't see any, and I am a little surprised.
Sharkbot does use mothership. There's not a unit Sharkbot does not use. So
well, that's why I'm surprised. Like that's who specifically I was like, okay, I expected Sharkbot to pull that second game or third game. I expected a mothership, but
might have got there because I think we started to see Tempest.
Okay,
so maybe it just didn't go long enough. But
yeah. If he starts to bank money, he'll start building like battery cannon farms like in the middle of the map or across the map, and you'll mix in carriers and mothership, so you'll have like mothership, carrier, battery, cannon like outside your base. It's so rough.
Absolutely. All right, so that's our show today. We'll end off with a little bit of again versus we have our versus AI summit this upcoming week. Human versus ProBots will be announced, so keep an eye on the community posts here for you to hear your chance to play against these bots. These top 8 bots will all be I want to say majority of them will be available for you to play. Actually, it won't be Deimos, it'll be Ares. So you'll get a chance to play against some of these top bots and get your chance to submit your replays super early, hopefully, so that we can get a lot of time to watch through them. So keep an eye on that. So that for that though, you'll probably have to be subscribed. You could be surprised too, but subscribed so you can get the notification of when that happens. And so part of Summit Week obviously is and we have a special player that will be playing the bots too. So for the exhibition, so keep an eye out for that. You know, and you love him. Maybe Flash. He is a pro, so we'll see. He was very excited to play them. He messaged me and reached out for it, so we'll see. So keep an eye. I won't spoil the surprise. You'll have to tune in and find out. So we got that, and so that's all next week. And anything you guys are excited for, whether that be ProBots or even in the events that we got coming up?
I think the chat you're talking about, like the other
panel
gamer, the panel.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna be interesting. Like I've seen some of their content, like especially the Pokemon one that you mentioned, and I've seen some of like the Rocket League stuff, what they could do there. Cars is definitely a thing. Rocket League and Trackmania, I know that like there's cool stuff, but
especially for reinforced learning, I feel like Rocket League is such a fascinating concept. Like I feel like there must be so much math. There's so much with angles and stuff. I'm very interested with Smash Brothers. I feel like Smash Brothers must have similar problems as us in terms of like obviously StarCraft 2 has different angles, which makes it difficult and imperfect information, which makes it that big challenge. So we'd probably follow in the same area of the Pokemon guy. I imagine there might have been a lot of similar challenges with imperfect information and basically having to learn the world through
the Pokemon one's really interesting. Like again, maybe people will after seeing that panel, but like some of the challenges you run into of like incentivizing behaviors is really interesting.
Really interesting. I watched the video. It was really good. I recommend you guys. I guess I can't really put it in the chat right now, but definitely look it up. Peter Widden, or actually just AI plays Pokemon. I'm positive it'll be the first number one. It has like some million something views, so you can't miss it. Really good video. Really interesting to see the idea of this this AI essentially torturing itself to learn to play Pokemon, not wanting to leave Pallet Town. And then that's this upcoming week, next week. So cool. Cat Rock, anything from you? Final thoughts, queries?
No, I'm good. I mean,
all right.
Another good video I saw though was one on Trackmania. There was a good long YouTube video on
I wanted to reach out to the track. I wanted to reach out to the Trackmania, but eventually I was like, this panel's getting really big. So
save something for next time, I guess.
Yeah. And I'm hoping that I would I mentioned this earlier in the year. I wanted this to actually be this live, but unfortunately things just didn't work out with the venue. But I thought I'm going to run it anyways, virtual or not. So this is just a start, and I'm hoping every year we can end off a year with a summit. So if you guys like it, good feedback, you let me know, and we'll keep trying to make it an annual thing, which would be ideal. So end off the year. Does any of your predictions change before we go? Anything for who's gonna finals?
This is the one year I didn't think Sharkbot would do it, so that means he's probably gonna win the whole thing.
The year of the Sharkbot?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, the Sharkbot. I think that'll be his first. If he wins, that will be his first ProBots win. No.
Yeah. But he's juicing, so I don't think it should.
Yeah, that's true. Asterisk.
Yeah.
We have to check him for illegal substances, illegal code. All right, cool, everybody. But be sure to tune in. You have to stay subscribed to this channel so you can get notifications for all the stuff, for the shorts, for the lives, for all the panels that we got coming up, all the events. Stay subscribed. And you know what? Happy coding out there, everyone. We'll see you Monday next week. Bye.